Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay. All ready? So today which chapter?
You have to announce about the extra class in case we need it.
Okay, couple of things. One is the 17th chapter. Tomorrow we will not have class. Nandita, have you confirmed? Have you spoken to them or you haven't?
No, I've already messaged in the group, ma'am, that today's class may be extended, but tomorrow there's no class because we have to attend the online program at least.
So we have two choices, whether we do the chapters today or should we carry tomorrow to Monday?
Monday, no.
Because tomorrow is Ramanavami, we will not have class, we have temple program. So
we can extend it today. Yeah, Mataji, I'm happy.
Want to extend and close the chapter today?
Yes.
So let's go ahead, because we had a doubt if you all want to wind early today because Ramanavami and all that. So okay, no problem. So I will start the class right away. Hare Krishna everyone, and today's chapter is 17th chapter, last but one chapter. Again, a very important chapter because this is so we are actually coming to the destination, which is the 18th chapter. So technically all our unanswered questions will be answered. This is most important chapter because all of us will fall in this category. And the 16th chapter spoke of two extremes, right? It talks about someone who is a devotee, someone who is a non-devotee, very clear category. It means believer of Shastra, which is Sura, Deviga qualities, right? Divine quality, and non-believer is Asura. But most of the time, that's why I keep telling that today I'm wearing gray because the color is never black and white, right? It's always gray. It's always gray, right? Real life is, we are in a gradation. We can't call ourselves as staunch devotees. We can't call ourselves as non-devotees, right? So Arjuna actually takes this chapter, as an opportunity for us to understand what it is. So he asked this question and we're going to see this, right? Before that, let's start off with Mangalacharan. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Vancha kalpadarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha tisana pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Anyanatimurandasya jnanandalachalakaya chakshurunmilitam tasmai shri guruve namaha. Anubhishtam stapitam ena bhutale swayam rupa kamaya dadati swapadadikam. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Shamanusute Devi Pranamani Haripriye Ancha Kalpatarubhyascha Vibhasindubhya Evacha Patidanan Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Come on, all of you unmute.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Rama.
Hare Krishna, everybody. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
One of the devotees last time did have a query on the plenary portion. So we will see if we have time, we'll address it. Otherwise, Nandita Mataji, please, I don't want this session level 2 to end without that. Also, level 3 announcements will come next week. Watch your WhatsApps because you should parallelly start for level 3 because we will be at the end of the session. Keep your quizzes ready so that you get qualified to go to the next level. Right? So, what are we talking about? So before, so advance happy Janmashtami to all of you. So we will start this chapter, which is the divisions of faith, right? So when we are talking about, it's called the Sraddhätraya Vibhäga Yoga. So divisions of faith. So we're going to see what are the various divisions of faith. Whether it's Upanishad or Nectar of Devotion, Nectar of Devotion, there is always a division of faith. They are called neophytes, right? The 7th chapter we saw Artha, Arthachi, Jignashu, and Jnani, right? 4 set of people. They are the neophytes, which we are in. And we have somebody that's also called the neophyte. Can anyone tell me the English, the Sanskrit version of neophyte? Can anyone tell the Sanskrit version? It's called the Kanishta. So what is the next level above Kanishta Adhikari?
Madhyadhikari.
Yes,
Madhyama.
yes. So that depends that the faith is strong. And the
Jitu?
highest, which is
কি পিৎজা খাবে তো আমি তাহলে অর্ডার দিয়ে দিচ্ছি এখন
the highest is, what is the highest?
Uttaradhikari.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. So highest is the Uttamadhikari. So Uttamadhikari has staunch faith, right? Nothing, unshakable faith. No matter what, their faith will never change, right? So that's the speciality of Uttama Adhikari, which is called Dhira. They're also called Mahabhagata. They are called Siddhara Muni and all these languages. So we are going to get into the continuation of the 16th chapter, which I told has two extremes, right? The divine quality and demonic quality. But we are always in a gradation in between, right? How do we escape? That's what the 16th chapter. But 17th chapter tells that the reason for us to have different faith, right? See, why is someone very devoted? Why am I not as devoted? Or why am I more devoted than an atheist? It's because of the fact that depending on the body and the life and our karma, we acquire one of the modes, which we've done enough. So that faith and worship also is directly proportionate to this. So between 8 and 10, we have foods in the modes, right? So we're going to see what kind of foods will be a part of these modes. Between 11 and 13, sacrifice in these modes. What sacrifice means is yagna. So many times we get confused. Sacrifice means giving something. No. Sacrifice means yagna, doing something for the pleasure of Krishna. Okay. And we are going to see 17th chapter, 14th verse to 19th verse, austerity, tapas. What is the tapas? How is tapas conducted in the 3 modes? And charity in 3 modes. Right? 23 to 28 is a conclusion, which is Om Tat Sat. These are very interesting topics. And let's see how the modes do affect. Hare Krishna. So let's start entering modes. How? So basically faith. There is nothing called no faith, right? There are only 2 extremes. One is the fact that I don't believe in the existence of Krishna is also asking this question. Did anybody, why did your grandmother or grandfather discuss with you ever about WhatsApp? Did they discuss about WhatsApp? Yes or no? Hare Krishna, please unmute yourself.
No.
Yeah, you can unmute. Did your grandfather or grandmother, when you were a small child, did they talk to you about WhatsApp?
No, ma'am. No, Mataji, because there was no telephone at that time.
Yeah, thank you so much. You gave me an answer. So there was nothing called, there was no mobiles also, right? So people do not talk about things which did not exist. But if they are debating whether it existed or not, it means it is there. Right? So God was there. Now they were spoken about ghost. Ghost also is there. Right? This is news to me because when I entered Bhagavad Gita, until then I was very sure. After I came into Bhagavad Gita only, I realized, oh my God, oh my Krishna, my usual style which I tell, oh my Krishna, there is ghost. Okay, but should we be scared or not? We will see through. But I'm just saying that this was a realization, or this was my understanding. Right? And charity, all that, let's see. 17th chapter. So we have seen this banyan tree in the 15th chapter, and it talks about mode of goodness on the top, passion in the middle, and ignorance in the bottom. 16th chapter tells you how can you elevate, right? How can you go and reach the ultimate destination, right? The final destination, which is our Goloka Vrindavan. So the next chapter talks about demonic qualities, which mentally pushes you down, right? Down, like a pressure, it pushes you completely down. So in the 16th chapter, Krishna establishes that faithful followers of Shastra are divine. All those who follow Shastra, they are very divine, and that faithless are demonic. We saw that clearly. But here the point is everyone don't fit here. It's a range. And why does the range, right? The fitment is not matching, right? So extreme 2. So not believing in Shastra is also a belief, right? That's also a belief. I don't believe, or I believe in God is one. I believe there is no God. That is also a belief, right? So that is what is the range which we are talking about. So where will they be situated is what Krishna is being asked by Arjuna. So he says, okay, where they'll be situated is directly related to the mode which they have acquired. So let's start with 17.1. Hare Krishna, please chant. One of you read. Hare Krishna, Manasvi, yes. Why don't you start, Manasvi? Read, chant.
Mataji, there is no shloka.
But you know English, no? Read, Arjuna said.
Yeah, okay. Arjuna said, "O Krishna, what is the situation of one who does not follow the principles of scriptures but worships according to his own imagination? Is he in goodness, in passion, or in ignorance?" Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, it's such a beautiful question, right? And from the 17.2, I request someone else also to read because Manasvi will start chanting, so she'll get very tired. So, so Krishna is being asked, like, what if he doesn't follow he believes in God? Like, we have a typical category, right? All our relatives, friends will fall in the category. I will go to temple, but in Janmashtami. I will pray Ganesha Chaturthi, but on the 11th day, I will dip Ganesha in the sea or river or lake or whatever, right? And so I will do whatever. My neighbor went and walked on the fire, and one of my relative went and poked the tongue with the, the lemon. And there was a belief that they used to call the son was praying for a particular deity, and the mother also literally fell on the feet of the son and took blessings. So all this we hear, right? So where do they fall? What do they fall, right? So there's something called Scientology. I'm not getting into that. So science, how it talks of, and let's move on to 17.2. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji. Shri Bhagavanu Vacha Trividha Bhavati Shraddha Dehinam Sa Swabhavaja Satviki Rajasi Chaiva Tamasi Cheti Tam Shrinu. Yes, Mataji.
Shrinu, can you notice they're specifically highlighting Shrinu, and they are talking about 3 types of people. And before I go into that, why don't someone read the text? Hare Krishna.
The Supreme Lord said, according to the modes of nature acquired by the modified soul, one's faith can be of 3 kinds: goodness, passion, or ignorance. Now, hear about these.
So beautifully he's saying, right? So according to the modes of nature, which the soul has acquired, right? Based on the karma and the previous deeds, the faith can be again divided. So even faith is divided, right, in 3 types. And besides these 2, there is also one category called the Vishuddha Sattva, which means pure goodness. So that we will see at the end, right? So right now they are only talking about the 3 broad material words. So we talk about karmis. So what is the path, roadmap for the karmis? They are having rajas quality. They follow karma, right? They are into artha, kama, right? We have seen that. Dharma, artha, kama, moksha. And after moksha, they go to Swargaloka. They are the karmis. They actually largely work as well as worship. Parallel. Not work as worship, that's a different concept. Here they work and they worship. Jnanis focus on the Paramatma feature, and they constantly think of the Brahma Jyoti, and again they do Jnana, and that object of worship is Krishna, but not object. Clear? Object is when they are closing the eye, they will think of Krishna so that they can focus. But their end objective is not Krishna. Their end objective is Brahma Jyoti. Now we have, in Bhakti, which I told Shuddha Sattva will bring in. So what is happening is in Shuddha Sattva, there is Bhakti, there is Prema. Of course, between Prema and Bhakti, there is Bhava and some stages, 9 stages. And then Krishna is the final, and that's only the Bhakta. Right? That is the destination for Bhakta. So that's what we are going to see. And based on that, let's see how the modes. Hare Krishna 17.3.
According to one's existence, under the various modes of nature, one evolves a particular kind of faith.
Prabhu, we are not able to hear you. Little louder.
The living being is said to be of a particular faith according to the modes he has acquired. Hare Krishna.
I'm sorry I couldn't hear, but I'll move on. But next, someone else read, and can you speak louder? Otherwise, Prabhu, thank you. So he's saying, according to the existence, under the various modes, right, a particular faith was, right? So which mode determines what is the level in depth faith. So it is said that according to the modes which they've already acquired, there will be a faith. So we'll just see deeper, you'll understand. Hare Krishna, please go ahead.
Yes, Mataji. Yajante satvika devan yaksharakshansi rajasaha pretan bhuta ganaushchanye yajante tamasa janaha. Yes, Mataji.
Men in
Men
mode
in
of
the
good.
mode of goodness worship the demigods. Those in the mode of passion worship the demon, and those in the mode of ignorance worship ghosts and spirits.
We are going to, this is a typical question which will come in demigods, which mode you will worship, and everybody will always do everything other than goodness, because we are all stuck in the 4th chapter where Krishna tells Krishna, whom should I worship? Why does it come? Because I will reward them according to the level of surrender. Krishna, then why are they worshipping demigod? Because they want quick result. Oh my God, then what will happen? Okay, they will come, but they will do the varnashram and reach me. So basically what they are doing, the worship of demigod gradually elevates a person to go into Krishna consciousness. Classic example is all of us in this room. All of us would have probably been thinking of at least one demigod. I won't say that we like maybe a so-called Vaishnavite or a Shaivite, and why I'm calling you so-called, because these are created by us. Right? The original Vaishnavite definition is very different from what we have thought. So we have originally had faith in demigod. We would have had Krishna, but still you can't say only Krishna, right? So we've had demigod faith, but they are all in the mode of, yes. So we saw already there is this shloka, right? Yatri. So wherever you go, things of demigod will reach demigod. So that's the Swarga Loka. So their destination is Swarga. So this is a little funny thing, right? Those in the mode of passion worship demons, right? So who are they? So we have a lot of them, and the quote Prabhupada is given is Hitler. There was one not devotee, a materialist, who was thanked Hitler because Hitler actually has been he did certain things, and we all know what he did. Now, I'm not getting into the details of Hitler, but during the presence of Hitler, who was an absolute autocrat, what happened is his business became very profitable, and therefore he started worshipping Hitler. So this might sound funny, but this is exactly what we do, right? Wherever there is power, we fall on them. Politician, ministry guys, now all of them you fight, right? There is also passion sometimes you chase. I was sharing an experience where in the bank where I was working, right, I used to be in the zone, and there was a branch of the main branch. He had more than 60 employees under him. And he just called once, and he was a senior guy. He was a vice president himself. And he was probably close to 50, like 48. And he was distributing chocolates to everybody in the bank, and during customer hours to the clients also. And he told, ma'am, please have a chocolate. So technically, we don't normally appreciate too much of involving your personal birthdays and all to clients. I mean, you can obviously have it within your bank staff during a lunch hour or something. So I was thinking maybe it's his birthday or a wedding day or something like, having a child. So I was just calm. So he said, can you guess? So I said, it's your birthday. He said, no, more. So I said, oh, wedding day? No. Then finally he told it is Rajinikanth's birthday. So I almost lost it. I said, boss, you're sitting in the middle of a tree and on a branch head, and you're celebrating Rajinikanth's birthday, which is a celebrity who is not even a brand ambassador of that brand. And in such a reputed bank, you are distributing chocolates. What kind of a message you're giving to the clients, right? And it is absolutely against it, right? So this is a chase of passion. So I didn't speak so many words. I said, please mind, let's focus on business, and I can. So what I'm saying is these are the kinds of people. And I also, this person had named his 2 kids after him. There was a youth class where they told Amitabh Bachchan, there is a temple built in Calcutta. I don't know if anyone of you all have gone. Have you all gone and seen, or have you heard? There's a temple for Amitabh Bachchan. But I know for sure in South, there's a place called Madurai. If you all are familiar, there used to be an actress called Kushbu, right? Kushbu, there is a temple for Kushbu. I have not seen this, but I'm very sure because it came in papers and I've heard. So this is classic mode of passion. Now, ignorance worship ghosts and spirits. So now,
Volume up.
I've turned it. So sorry. Spirit. So we're talking about ghost and spirit. So where is the ghost? Is my voice not clear? Is it getting?
No, Mataji,
It's very clear.
Mataji,
It's clear? Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Madhu, please check your settings. Thank you. And this is my maximum energy. I can't show you this.
Mataji, your voice is clear, but some background hissing sound.
There is some Static voice, Mataji.
Sorry?
Static voice.
Static is a fan. I can maybe break it down by a point. Fan, one.
Mataji, it's not audible.
Yeah.
And
Because I'm
sometimes
telling
the
you,
voice
because
is breaking.
You see. Okay. So I think now your static sound would have come down. I've switched off the fan. So let's see.
Yeah, it is good.
Okay. Well, it's bad. It's sultry.
Mataji,
Hare Krishna.
not audible.
It's audible. Thank you. So, so now coming back to the mode of, okay, this is a very important point. Please pay attention. So this is called the ghost. So what is ghost? We have gross body. What are the elements gross body is made of?
Panchabhuta.
Air, air, water, fire,
Earth, water, fire, air, ether. 5 elements.
24 elements, no, Mataji?
No, but we'll keep it as 5. So that 24
Okay.
talks about both. And subtle body is made of
3.
Mind, intelligence, and false ego.
all super powerful. Yes. So basically on death, what happens?
the subtle body
And the Atma leaves.
leaves.
What leaves? Which
Mataji,
body
the
leaves?
soul leaves the body.
Subtle body and the Atma.
Yeah.
Along with Atma.
Super.
Yeah. So the soul and the subtle, yeah, super soul is there, but I'm just telling that the gross body is gone. The subtle body is accompanied by, the Atma is accompanied by subtle body, right? So this is what happens. So what happens? What is this called? You don't want to hear it, but what is it called?
Ghost. Death.
Thank you. Yeah, that's what I told you. You'll call it dead.
Bhuta, Mataji. Bhuta.
Bhuta. Correct. Thank you so much. So that's called Bhuta. That's called ghost.
Mataji, it's divided into 4 parts, right? Bhuta.
Yeah, no, I'm coming to that. Wait. So this ghost is predominant. This is that moment. Okay. So that ghost is when someone commits suicide, because somebody's age is qualified, supposed to be 60 years, but they end their lives at 30. The balance 30 life, which is destined, has to be in the form of ghost, because the body has not been assigned. Now you may tell, okay, Mataji, so which means that if you die at the age of 101 year, 100 years plus 1 second, will I get a body? No, you won't. So will I be a ghost? No, you won't. So then what will I be, right? So that is what you're going to talk about, is an expretan. So what happens is you have a gross body, you have a, which is gone. You have a gross body, which is gone, and you have a subtle body, right? And you have Atma. So there is something in between both, which is Atma, subtle body, next one more subtler body, which is grosser than the subtle body, but subtler than the gross body. Do I get it? So it's in between the Atma and subtle body, there's one more body, right? So that body is called Pretan. And why do we do Pitru Puja? Because then only that Pretan will go to the Pitruloka. So somebody with an average credit, say someone who's like super good, so much of charity, so nice, amazing person, will go to Swarga. But most cases, an average good person. So don't tell me, Mataji, you know, my grandfather did so much good things. Every day he gave charity. That's not a great soul. It's called averagely above average soul. For us, that's a great soul, because we don't do all that these days, right? So that is called Pitra. So Pitra Puja is very important, is because you are making the Pretan become Pitra and go to Pitruloka. So many of them worship. So I'm making this point so clear here, because many of you all get confused. Every time, class after class, I come across people telling, oh, Mataji, then I'm very clear. I do Pitru Puja. Is that wrong? No, you should, because that's your duty. And some of them recently, when we were discussing this, my mama, like my mom's eldest brother, he died a few years back, and everybody were remembering the day when he was born. And my uncle was saying, I don't understand why you all have to remember, or rather why you all have to wish or comment. But we were telling, we don't know where he is, right? He could be anything. He could be a human, he could be an animal, but it doesn't matter, right? Because he was related to us, and we will continue to do the Pitru Puja with the hope that wherever he is, he should be happy, right? So Pitru Puja has to be continued unless we are such exalted, pure devotees, which we are not. So therefore, at our stage, we will continue all this, right? So I hope this is very clear. So the demigod worship is also considered as mode of goodness, because it elevates you. See, you worship demigod, it will give you that jnana to go and worship Krishna. So that is what, so a demigod will help you, right? Yatpada pallavi yugam avinitaya kumbha tvande pranama samaye sa ganadi rajaha Vignam Vigatum Alamasya Jagatrayasya Govindamadi Purusham Tamam Bhajami. Hare Krishna. Vinayaga, Nectar of Devotion is mentioning very clearly that you can pray Vinayaga to be a remover of obstacle. Krishna, Ganesha, please remove the obstacle to go to Krishna. Same way you can go to Lord Shiva, right, and request him that please allow me to go up, right? So that these are all prayers which you can give. And now this is demigod worship. So any of you all here who does this puja, black magic, demon worship, or whatever, ghost worship? Anyone here? If there is no, I will assume it's an yes.
Mataji, is it done?
No, Mataji.
No.
No, Mataji.
No, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. So we don't do, but there are some people who do this, right? And they call Pitru Loka and they call the Pitru and they do this kind of pujas, right? So they have a specific, why do they do that? Because mode of passion is either fantasy, like what I said, or normally a benefit expectation. But mode of ignorance is very much a benefit expectation. They want something very gross. So that is what the worship is, right? So let's move on to 17.5 and 6. Hare Krishna.
Those who undergo severe austerities and penances not recommended in the scriptures, performing them out of pride, egotism, lust, and attachment, who are impelled by passion and who torture their bodily organs as well as the super soul dwelling within, are to be known as demons.
Oh my God.
Hare Krishna, Ankita, thanks for reading. That was so loud. So
Thank you.
thanks. So now, can someone tell me who's this person in this picture? I feel like telling who's this joker. I thought, okay, this is Bhagavad Gita class, so I will pick myself.
Ravana.
Ravana is bad. That's also a good example, but this is not Ravana.
In the center, Mataji.
Sorry, correct. This is Ravana. This is Ravana. I'm talking about the top right. Top right. Can anyone guess? Hiranyakashipu. So there is, whatever they have done is not prescribed in the scriptures, right? Hiranyakashipu was doing so much of austerities that, and penances. There was this ant hill which came around him, and there was so much of heat which was generated because of his tapas that the demigods had to come and relieve him. Otherwise, they were like getting heated up, right? So anything which disturbs or tortures the bodily organs, which also means that the super soul is being disturbed. Because Krishna, just simple. If your child comes and tells, I'm going to cut myself in a blade, I need food, or you'll anyway give food, that's different. But let's say that you're not giving something, and if the child comes and cuts the nerve and blackmails you, would you like that? Would anybody like that? Oh, my child is so determined. She cut
No, Mataji.
Does anyone speak like that?
No,
not
Mataji,
at all.
that's not
Right?
the way to speak.
Right? So let's go to a younger generation which enjoys, right? So teenagers, right? It's a blood commitment. They will cut and write in blood and all. So this is the story. And we call it love. Now the love is more advanced. I will drink poison, or I will pour acid in your face. I think that's the latest trend, right? So you don't love me, I'll pour acid in your face. So these kind of bodies, so this is basically violence, but what I'm telling you is self-torture. Here they're talking about self-torture. So I will commit suicide, I'll cut myself. These are not mentioned anywhere in the Shastras. Nowhere in the Shastras, including Tamasic Shastras. But these are all mentally concocted because neither Hiranyakashipu nor Ravana nor Bhashmasura did anything which is mentioned in the Shastra. But they did something, but out of sympathy, Brahma, Shiva came and gave benediction. So these kind of things are strictly prohibited, even now. So there are also things where people, and I was thinking this only in India, and later I realized even abroad, they do walk in fire. So they walk in fire, they really torture themselves. Why? Because they'll say, I'll do this, God, this is a bribe I'm giving you, you should give me something in return. Okay. And anything which you do bodily, some of them try and poke lemon in the tongue, pierce their self at the back. All these are mentioned in the Shastra. 17.7.
Yes, Mataji. Aharastvapi sarvasya trividho bhavati priyah yajnastapastatha danan tesham bhedamimam shrinu.
Even the food each person prefers is of three kinds, according to the three modes of material nature. The same is true of sacrifices, austerities, and charity. Now here, of the distinctions between them.
So basically the food, sacrifice, austerity and charity is in 3 modes. I know the moment you hear this, you'll tell charity, how Mataji? Charity itself is giving. How can you have it in 3 modes? So wait for the chapter. Towards the end, we will come to that, right? So first we're going to talk about foods. I think this, all of us are clear. So we see eating, right? All 3, right? Food we eat, all the tapas, austerities, charity, everything are in 3 modes. So the wise will distinguish, whereas the fools won't, right? So we are moving to section B, which talks about food in 3 modes. Please go ahead and read, Mataji. Hare Krishna, 17.8 and 10.
Foods in the mode of goodness increase the duration of life, purify one's existence, and gives strength, health, happiness, and satisfaction. Such nourishing foods are sweet, juicy, fattening, and palatable. Foods that are too bitter, too sour, salty, pungent, dry, and hot are liked by people in the modes of passion. Such foods cause pain, distress, and disease. Food cooked more than 3 hours before being eaten, which is tasteless, stale, putrid. I can't read. The food liked by people in the mode of ignorance. Hare Krishna Mati.
Oh, acha, sorry. The thing is gone. Okay.
It's decomposed and unclean.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm also trying to, I just realized. Okay, so very quickly, while I'm going to that verse, let me just quickly run you through this. So what happens, they're talking about food, is obviously the food which is, which is very palatable. So this, see, the last line is decomposed and unclean. I should have not brought the picture, so sorry. So this is the typical wedding bhojanam, right? Food. So it's very palatable, it's very tasty, and it's juicy. Why is it so? Because when especially these are prasad, it becomes, now this is mode of goodness. So when you give it to Krishna, it becomes very juicy. Because otherwise it's a little bland if you see this food. But after you serve to Krishna, it's because Krishna's saliva is in that particular food. So that is why they say that the food in the mode of goodness, this is above that stage called the Suddha Sattva stage. Now the next stage is that of the fruits and all this, right? Your all the fruits and all of them which are very sweety, buttery and all that will come under the mode of goodness, right? Now any Andhrites here, I know that one Akshay Reddy will be here. I'm sure he's an Andhrite. So who can understand very clearly. I'm sure there are some more Andhrites. I am one Telugu. So, so the center, the middle one is pungent. So if you talk, very strong. So if you go to Andhra, so I have a friend of mine, she's a hardcore Andhrite. And the moment she serves me food, the first thing I will do is I will pick up a glass of juice. She will always pick a fight telling when you're having lunch, you should never have a glass of juice. So I will tell that I can't eat lunch if I don't have this juice, because if I don't sip the juice, I will be like, my eye, it's like my belly is burning and my, my eyes are watering. Okay, I will always have water in my eyes when I eat that. It is so spicy, right? So literally that is the case. Okay, fine. She will always give me raita, and in the raita, she would have had chopped chilies. So this is like adding more injury to the fuel. You're already burning up and you add more to it. And you know what they do? They add a cup of ghee, right? And why? And they may not even add weight. The reason is there's so much of spice. If you do not take that cup of ghee, there's every possibility that you will probably turn out to have ulcer, right? So that is the biggest risk. Now, the third option is that of ignorance, wherein you need to see worms in the microscope. You will see the worms, little worm coming up. That means there are lots of words which you're not able to see in your intellect. So until you see, so there are a lot of people, like my sister-in-law was one, she used to cook only once a week, right? And refrigerated. So this is all mode of ignorance, except prasad, where prasad is so sanctified that you can take it from the lip of a dog. Shastras say that the prasad is so pure that you can take it from the lip of even a dog, right? Other than that, today what we do is we are in the modern society eat out of each other's plates. That's my high style, right? I love to eat out of somebody's plate rather than my own plate. Do we all, I mean, am I the odd one out, or do we have anyone to give me company in this? Do you like to eat out of somebody's plate? Or somebody still, because of COVID, we've been restricted.
No, Mataji.
No, Mataji.
You all stick to your plates. Very nice.
Yes.
Yes, kindly do that, because that's mode of goodness. whatever I'm telling is representing a mode of ignorance. Also, unless it's your spiritual master. Unless it's your spiritual master where you're allowed, because we saw in the 4th canto, even in the 1st canto, there is a very clear line detail which talks about Narada in Srimad Bhagavatam will eat from the remnants of the spiritual master, and then, he gets saturated. So that's the best thing. But otherwise, you should always stick to your own plates, right? So anything stale, 3 days is not accepted. 17.11, Hare Krishna.
Of sacrifices, that sacrifice performed according to duty and to scripture's rules, and with no expectation of reward, is one of nature of goodness. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna, yeah, I'm just, so this is the thing. So why am I showing this chanting? Because is there anyone in this team who chants and says, okay, I'm going to chant. I will start with Manasvi. Manasvi, do you tell I need 1 mark extra? I will chant 1 extra round. Do you say that? I think she will say she's quiet. So do we have anybody who says that I'm chanting because I need this benefit? Very unlikely. So this yagna, sacrifice is yagna, is performed more as a duty, right? And it is as per the scriptural rules. So Sankirtan yagna is prescribed for Kali Yuga, they do that. So we all do that. Whereas in the previous yuga, we've done various different yugas, right? It could be, deity worship in Dwarpa Yuga, and in the Treta Yuga, there was elaborate yagna, with fire and all that, and and meditation. So basically, the second one was meditation also, right? So if you see the first Satya Yuga, they used to go for hundreds of years. They had 1 lakh life, right? Kali Yuga is 100 years, previous one is 1,000, and Treta Yuga was 10,000. And 1 lakh years was Satya Yuga. So they used to go and meditate for hundreds of years, just like you see Hiranyakashipu. Difference is Hiranyakashipu did against scriptures, whereas many of them do in favor of scriptures. So typically all your Kardama Muni and all of them, they've done hundreds of years of, tapas. So this is what it is. Sacrifice in the mode of goodness, according to the scriptures, right? No mental speculation and matter of duty. You may go to church or temple, it doesn't matter, but as long as you do not have an economic benefit and expect, that's so important. Now, there is a classic example of Prabhupada where he had been to Iran. Yeah, there was a, you all know, right? It's a Muslim country, and they were all chanting Allah name. So someone came and told, are you not going to talk about Krishna? He said, why are you making me a sectarian? They are so sweetly chanting, and Prabhupada had closed his eyes and he was deeply, immersed when they were praying, and he said they are so staunch devotees, right? So going to the next stage is different, but then they are close to God. Let them do that more sincerely, right? So that is what he told. So he did the same with respect to Christians also, especially when they was talking to the church priest and those who are very deep in worship. He asked them to continue the same thing in complete faith and determination. But he told, thou shall not kill is there in Bible, strictly follow. Whereas he also told not to follow things like whereas people who are not very strong, then he told, yes, follow Krishna and introduce Krishna conscious to them. So that is what it talks about. Now we are going to talk about sacrifice, which is yagnas in passion. So please go ahead. 17.12. Hare Krishna.
But that sacrifice performed for some material end or benefit, or performed ostentatiously out of pride, is of the nature of passion, O chief of Bharatas.
Hare Krishna. So he says that particular sacrifice performed for some material end, whatever it could be the reason, right? It could be performed, ostentatiously, like it's out of the pride. They have this false pride, prestige. You'll see a lot of them like Lakshmi Puja. They will call all of them relatives, friends, and they'll wear such heavy jewelry and show off, this is what it is. And they will probably be kicking the husbands. That's a different story. But before everyone, they will show as if, he should come and he should do everything. So these kind of things are passion. Even Pulyar Chaturthi, which is what Ganesha Chaturthi, it's good. But then people have political dispute. My Ganesha is big. My Ganesha is wide. This is the biggest Ganesha. All this comes around. My Ganesha will even walk in the street of the Muslims. My Ganesha entered before a church. Doesn't matter. No? All this is passion. You have Ganesha, even small Ganesha is as powerful as the big Ganesha, right? And they will pray and they will make such huge Ganeshas, and on the 11th day, they'll go and dump in the water, right? So that is what happens. So these are mode of passion. Let's move to 17.13. Hare Krishna.
and that sacrifice performed in defiance of scriptural injunctions in which no spiritual food is distributed, no hymns are chanted, and no remunerations are made to the priests, and which is faithless. That sacrifice is of the nature of ignorance.
Typically, can anyone tell me who is this person? Don't tell me Shiva, that I know, you will know.
Bhasmasura.
Bhasmasura. So Bhasmasura was very funny. Shiva did not fall in love with him. Shiva was irritated with him. Shiva actually had come over there and offered a benediction. The benediction which he offered was because of the fact that he felt pity when Bhasmasura wanted to cut off his own head. So that time Shiva came and gave a benediction only for the reason that he had soft corner. He was so sympathetic. That's the only thing. Other than that, there was no other reason at all, right? And then as a sacrifice performed in defiance of scriptures. Why do you say that? So anything, right? Any sacrifice performed for scriptural defiance, right? No spiritual food is distributed, no hymns are chanted, and no remuneration is given. So if there is no Veda, then there's no point. And there will be a lot of people today, you see, hey, I have this birthday party in my house. Let's come for a high tea, and that will have 2 biscuits and half a cup of tea. I don't know what is high in that tea. You don't get high, you get low because you lose your energy also. And couple of chips. Have you experienced that? There will be really exalted high teas. I'm not talking about it, but people put 2 chips, 1, 2. I've been there. I sometimes feel, why do they even call in the name of birthday? Because I'm used to, we do have birthday parties, but my mom used to, prepare. I had a brother who used to share the same day birthday. Of course, we were 3 years apart, but we used to have cake. Mom used to make cake. She used to go, those days. The concept is, like today we know easier ways of making cakes, but I would probably pick up a cake, spending some money for my daughter, but I will never put so much of efforts and energy, right? But that time, they used to go, dad used to come, they used to really bake it in the oven. They used to do the creaming, they used to write the name, they used to do all that, right? And there used to be, they never used to be cooks, they never used to be made, but there used to be exotic dinner. There is never a time when they used to just give 2 chapatis and send. They used to have chapatis also, they used to have rice also. Food used to be so exotic. And on top of it, we used to have handmade ice creams, and all of them used to be very juice. So everything used to be complete, right? And people who go even for a small thing used to be very happy, right? Whereas today, if you see, they come or they will tell, let's go out, and that also bill is not paid. They will tell, let's touch, or you give a treat, and what's your birthday gift? So earlier, the concept of birthday used to be like charities were given, which we will come when we are talking. But today, the concept seems to be totally different. So here, no hymns are chanted. There is absolutely nothing, and they don't even pay the priest, right? So you can imagine what kind of a thing, right? This is the mode of, the austerity. All this in the mode of ignorance. Now, we are moving to the austerities in the mode of goodness. Austerity in the mode of goodness, one is a nectar of instruction, which you're going to be reading very soon. Hare Krishna. Vacha vegam, manasa krodha vegam, jigva vegam, udaro prashta vegam, vedan vegan visheta dhiraha, sarvam apiman pratimita shishyat. So dhira is coming here also, right? Dhira is we saw highest level of faith. So he will have 6 austerities. So basically body, speech and mind, right? So mind will be self-control, body will be speaking, tongue, taste, right? Then, your belly and your genitals, right? You control all of them, and your anger. So these are the things which are the austerities of the body. So let's go specifically to that of a body. So body talks about cleanliness, and it talks about simplicity. So each one of it you all already know, but I will still take it in length. So cleanliness is obviously both internal and external. Internal cleanliness, I'm going to chant, and you're going to tell me from where is this. Hare Krishna. Cheto darpana marjanam bhava mahadavagni nirvapanam.
Sikshastakam.
Mataji Shirshastakam of Lord Chaitanya.
So Cheto, yes. So which verse is this?
First verse.
Yes, thank you so much. First verse. And what does it mean?
Cleansing of mind and heart.
Our heart, we should cleanse our heart,
Thanks.
mirror when it gets dirty.
Yeah, so it's a heart basically. Cheto Darpana means cleaning the heart. Am I please sit on the floor? She's all right. Later, Thomas, put your pine on the chair. So therefore, cleaning of the heart, Cheto Darpana Marjanam is talking about. So what we are going to talk is, this is the total concept, right? So the spiritual master is going. So why I brought in spiritual master? We are talking about, nothing talks about sannyasi. They're talking about living, because if you see, they are talking about paying obeisances to father and mother. But many of them in some religions, not religion, even in our caste and our religion, so-called, they believe in some specific task wherein they will talk about praying if they wear a particular bead and they pray God for that month, the parents also fall on the feet. No, where is it? Have you ever seen Krishna's mother Yashoda Ma falling on the feet of Krishna? Okay, fine, you will tell, okay, Krishna was just Kshatriya. So let's go to Chaitanya. In Chaitanya, Shuchi Ma, has she ever fallen on the feet of Chaitanya? Never. Throughout her life, throughout his life, he has only fallen in his he has only fallen on and taken blessings. Even Krishna had fallen in the feet of Yudhishthira. So this is what it is. Celibacy, give me a second, I'm going to explain celibacy. So non-violence. So non-violence is where, you follow ahimsa. We've done enough of non-violence. So even if we don't give Krishna to our soul, it is non-violence. It's called, right? We have Asurya Namate Loka Andena Tamasavritah Tamste Pregya Vikachanti Eke Atma Manojanaha. Where is this from? Hare Krishna, where is this from? I'm going to have a bite if you guys don't mind. I'm hungry. So where is this from? Where is this from? Yeah, 17 minutes. Hare Krishna, is anybody there in the class or you all slept off? Okay, this is from Isho Upanishad and this is the third mantra, and Atmaha means killer of the soul. So that is what it means. It's not necessarily physical or mental violence, but it is also this. And if you don't give Krishna to your soul, it becomes that. And violence can also be thought. In Kali Yuga, thankfully, you're not penalized for your non-actions, but what you will be penalized is remember one thing, your thoughts become action. So you'll eventually land up in action, right? So that is what it is. Truth. I'll come back to celibacy in 1 minute. Speech is always truthful. It should be pleasing and it should be beneficial. Why? Okay, so somebody is coming and telling, my daughter got 95%. Oh, very nice. That's good. You can stop. There is a one part of truth. My servant's daughter got 98%. Is it required to be told? Not required. That is not pleasing. So you should not speak those things. It's a truth only, but is it relevant in the context? Not relevant. Like nobody's bothered to check whether your maid's daughter got 95% or 98% or your driver got 100%. In that thing, because somebody is coming and sharing their happiness with you. If you talk something like that, it's very offending, right? So we should not get into that. And your talk should never adjust. Your talk should be pleasing and it should not do so. But you should still be true. You can be very honest. You can be upfront. You can true, but you have to tell it in a right way. Also regular, for example, one classic example is Namanishta Prabhu was telling in Bhagavatam class, which he conducts every day in the morning, 8:15. And Nandita has been sharing the links. I'll request you all to at least attend whenever you all can. So Prabhu was telling, there was one person who's sleeping and he had his hand and someone kept the Bhagavad Gita. He didn't realize and he dropped it. And this fellow, that one slap. One thamal one slap. He said, why did you slap me? You dropped Bhagavad Gita. Okay, I'm so sorry. Okay, today it will become different. He will take that book and hit you ahead. Right? So what he says is, as a Brahmana, you have to advise, and if you can't, you have to leave. As a Kshatriya, you take a knife and kill him. Otherwise, you can even kill yourself. Now, we are neither true Kshatriyas nor Brahmana. So we'll try talking to them. And otherwise, we will behave like a Sudra, where we will try convince them. If it's not possible, just leave the place. Right? You don't, Brahmana also gives up his life. So Sati gave up her life. We are nowhere close to any of this, right? So what we should do is we should try to convince. If we can't, just move out from the place. Now, gravity of thought, right? Gravity of thought. As I said, the thoughts come, whatever is there in the mind, it becomes actions, right? Satisfaction is a subjective one. For example, I want to buy a big car, right? So let me take, I'm going to buy a Maruti Esteem, is a big car. Then I will tell I want a bigger car. Maybe I will think of a Honda City. then I will go for Corona. But the point is, I will never have satisfaction. I'm going to compare myself. I'm going to see my neighbor. Oh my God, he's got BMW. I'm going to take a Mercedes Benz. So the satisfaction has to be drawn, right? Simplicity is someone who can be so simple, and it defines that he can go to his enemy and disclose the truth. Example, who can go even to his enemy and tell the truth is what is the most simple person, right? So that is simplicity. And next one is self-control. We've seen mind needs self-control. Everywhere we are fighting for that, right? This is a struggle. I can't have tea. I want coffee. This is what it is. Third level, can I register? Because it has some restrictions which I can't follow. All this. This purifies one's existence. Now I am going to, for celibacy, remind me at the end, if time permits, I'll tell you the story. But otherwise, one line of celibacy which I wanted to tell you is celibacy is something where you do not, it does not just necessarily mean a bachelor. It means that somebody who practices mind physically celibacy, and even in a grahastha, the point like Krishna, Rama used to be called Ega Patini Varda, because why is it called Varda? Because he just lived with one wife, right? So celibacy also means a proper life where you follow all your spiritualities and live as per Shastra, right? Hare Krishna. Yes, 17.14.
Yes, Mataji. Devadvija Guru Prajna Pujanam Shauchamarjavam Brahmacharya Mahimsa cha Shariran Tapa Uchyate. Yes, Mataji.
The austerity of the body consists in this: worship of the Supreme Lord, the Brahmanas, the spiritual master, and superiors like the father and mother. Cleanliness, simplicity, celibacy, and non-violence are also austerities of the body. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So very clearly it talks not just about the Brahmana, Supreme Lord, but superiors like father and mother. So it is not, many of them tell austerity. Have you all experienced the moment you get little involved in Krishna consciousness, everybody will be scared. You're going to run away, you'll become a sannyasi. Yes or no? Yes or no?
Yes, Mataji. Yes.
Yes, Mother.
Of course.
But Krishna conscience, first of all, for ladies, so sorry, I'm eating, is not there for ladies. Okay? And on top of it, Krishna consciousness is never there for, even for men, they don't tell. If you're a grahastha, if you're already married, they never tell you to leave your wife and children. But it's just a feeling. Why do they say a grahastha life is always more preferred than a sannyasi life? Because you can do so much more as a grahastha. Right? Sannyasi, Varna Ashram talks about sannyasi after the age of 75. So nobody is telling people to run away. We are not talking about inertia. We are talking about activities involving Krishna. Right? So that is the whole concept in 17.14. Let's go ahead with 17.15. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji. Anudvegakaram vakyam satyam priyahitam chayat swadhyaya pesanaichaiva vangmayan tapa uchyate. Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Please read.
Austerity of speech consists of speaking truthfully and beneficially, and in avoiding speech that offends. One should also recite the Vedas regularly. Hare Krishna.
If you see the demonic qualities, and I can remember this not because I have a great memory, it's because that's so close to my quality. So once Namnishta Prabhu was taking this class, and I was telling you all last time, right? Harsh, I was telling, oh Prabhu, I'm demonic, I'm harsh. He said, okay, all of us will have one quality, so it definitely will fit all of us. So the idea is to, not that we do not have demonic qualities, we have, but we have to slowly get rid of it, right? So why am I telling that is austerity of speech is you speak truthful, but at the same time you don't do which offends people, right? One classic example: do I look ugly? Yes, you look ugly. You don't have to tell that, right? You can always tell that you're very close, so naturally I don't feel anything about it, right? You can always tell, put it across nice. You don't have to necessarily lie. So are you my friend? No, you're not my friend. That is also not required. Yes, you're my best friend. That's also not required. You can always put it in a way which is convincing, and you can convey your truth. Reciting Vedas, why is it so important? Not only that Sanskrit increases your memory on the material side, but scientifically, Vedas are so useful. And this you will experience only when you get there, right? So there will be a situation when you will get a feeling that, oh my God, I am all by myself, or I have a time, that time the Vedas speak to you. Vedas actually really speak, right? They will come and they will tell when you're confused, you will immediately remember, right? Okay, Sarva Dharma Parityaga Mam Ekam Sharanam Raja. So this is one, right? And all the papas will be removed by Krishna. So this will come. So someone talks about non-veg, you will get Pushpam, Patram, Pushpam, Payam, Toyam. Correct now this time, Manasvi?
Yes, Mataji.
Thank you.
Patram pushpam phalam toyam.
Yeah. So this one. So immediately when someone says, okay, a lot of this will start coming. So someone says, everything about Bhagavad Gita is unauspicious. Immediately you think, Dhritarashtra Uvacha, oh my God, this fellow is talking at the beginning. First time I thought like that, Dhritarashtra Uvacha, why should I start? So initially I used to feel, why should I start with the shloka? I'll leave that shloka. I will start with matras and then I will put in between. No, everything about Bhagavad Gita is auspicious, right? Whether it's spoken by Dhritarashtra or whether it's spoken by Krishna, it is not equal, but it is auspicious. Right, so all this will start working. Do you need a teacher? Yes, you need. Tad vidhi pradipratena praniprashnena sevya. All this will ring, right? So when you think that, okay, what should I think of Krishna? Ananya chintayanto mam yemam janu prashyate. So all that it will work, provided we know a little bit of Vedas, because this will come handy on a dry day. So why am I saying this is proved in Shastra that whatever pain is there in your heart, the Vedas take it away from you, right? So all this serenity, simplicity, gravity, self-control, and purity of thought are the austerities of the mind. Thinking pure, even like, we have Parshuram. Does anyone know the father's name of Parshuram and the mother's name of Parshuram?
Jamadagni and Menaka.
Renuka, Mataji.
Not Menaka.
Renuka.
Menaka is different. She's the Apsaras of the heavenly planet. So,
Indra.
Father's name?
Jamadagni.
Yeah, so Jamadagni is a permanent person who's there now. He's like eternal, right? So Jamadagni, what happens in his case is Renuka goes, right, and she comes across celestial people. For a second, she thinks, oh wow, that's it, right? And she's considered as impure, right? It's just a thought. It's not that she's gone with someone or not. So if this is the situation today, all of us are impure in that definition. But on a very strict sense of it, that used to be austerity, right? People never used to think of anyone. That is why they were calling a set of people as sati, because that austere, and the more austere they are, that powerful their husbands also become. And one more example is Ravana's wife. Ravana's wife also was so austere, so beautiful, and that's a classic example. Hare Krishna, let's move on to tapas. We saw austerity, we go to tapas. Hare Krishna.
Sraddhaya paraya taptan tapas Trividhan naraihi afadakankhi bhiryuktai satvikam parichakshate.
Shall I read, Mataji?
Yeah, Mataji, immediately after she chants, you can read. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Hare Krishna, Mataji. This threefold austerity practiced by men whose aim is not to benefit themselves materially but to please the Supreme is of the nature of goodness. Hare Krishna, Mataji.
So now we are entering tapas. So anything done. So we just went to, now we are in tapas, right? So anything we do for the satisfaction of the Supreme, that becomes nature of goodness. In fact, satisfaction of Supreme actually goes beyond goodness also. It will go to Vishuddha Sattva. So this is a parikrama. Recently, we know in Mangalore, I think few of you also have gone to Vrindavan Parikrama. Parikrama is going around. We had been earlier to Mayapur Parikrama. So we have done this chakras, many of these places. So this is so nice. And, I also wanted to tell that we do this, right? Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu. What are the nine processes of bhakti? Can someone tell?
Shravanam, Kirtanam,
Archanam, Vandanam, Padasevanam, Sakyam, and Atma Nivedanam.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Amazing. So why I brought all this is Pada Sevanam. So normally Pada Sevanam for us mean that praying the Pada of God. This is what we understand. But Pada Sevanam also means praying Tulsi. Pada Sevanam means going to Yatras, Parikramas. Pada Sevanam also talks about, yes, the Pada of the God. all this will come under the category of Padaseva, right? And, paying obeisances to the spiritual master. All these are coming as Padaseva. So I'm just telling the huge category. So we should know the category to get to the next level. So the threefold austerities, whatever we are talking about, practiced by men, right, with whose aim is not to benefit, it's not for them materially, but they are all doing to please the Krishna. So entire benefit, whatever is done is there is for pleasing Krishna. Krishna. 17.18. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji. Satkaramana pujartham tapodambhena chaiva yat kriyate tadiha proktam rajasanchala madhruvam. Yes,
Those
please chant.
ostentatious finances and austerities which are performed in order to gain respect, honor, and reverence are said to be in a mode of passion. They are neither stable nor permanent. Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. What they're telling is the penance and the austerities which are performed to gain a lot of respect. We will come across many such people who will do a lot of these tapasas, to show off. Or you will see a classic example is college friends, right? They will all go to a temple and follow a particular thing because they want to get together. They want to be popular. Many of these are for that. And sometimes you will see huge, I told you, right? The huge pujas, huge tapas. All this is done more because they want to get something in return, right? If you don't do something and if you don't get back something in return, which is not permanent, they will not do. So that's a classic example of passion. Go ahead, ma. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji. Mudhagrahinatmano yat pidaya kriyate tapaha parasyutyat dhanartham va tattamasamudahritam.
And those penances and austerities which are performed foolishly by means of obstinate self-torture or to destroy or injure others are said to be in the mode of ignorance. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So talking about all the penances and austerities which are performed foolishly by means of obstinate self-torture, right? You torture yourself. Many of them, example I just told, Hiranyakashipu, Bhishma, not Bhishma, what is it? Bhashmashura, right? They keep doing a lot of this by self-torture and they instigate injury to themselves. This is totally ignorance. So anything which is involving self-torture, which also in terms of diet, right? So you will tell that, okay, Mataji, then we are all fasting. But fasting, do you do because you want to keep fit or you actually do fasting for God? Now, if you ask me, what can I do if I become very fat? That's because you do not have control or we do not have control on the tongue, right? My dad is a doctor and he's always said that the fat is a direct proportion to input is to output. So you can eat how much ever and, you will actually gain accordingly. Of course, body constitution matters, but a large part of it. So if the output is more, so my aunt used to tell that there was a celebrity who used to take some 3 kgs of chicken. So she used to pick an argument. Now that itself, eating that is in a tamas quality. On top of it, 3 kgs. So he used to work out for about 4 hours. But my aunt in my entire day will probably walk like 500 meters within the house. That also she'll think and walk. So now can you even compare? So what happens is you can't compare because your output of the other person is much higher, whereas your output is almost zero, right? So if you draw these comparisons and we'll never, it's called very foolish and self-torture. And also many of them opposite they do. I want to be, there's a particular name for that sickness. If you all know, you can help me, but I'm not able to recall that. It is wherein, they always want to be very thin. And they are so emaciated and they are scared to even eat because they feel that if they eat, they will become fat and they go into complete starvation because of that. Literally.
Yeah, anorexic.
No, size 0.
Size 0 is Krishna.
Anorexic.
Anorexia, yeah, exactly. Thank you so much. Yeah. So they are going to be.
Mataji.
Sorry?
It's a phobia.
I can't hear you. Sorry.
It's a phobia. Fear of.
They get a phobia because of that. It's a kind of phobia where they are so scared. right? They're scared to eat because they want to do. So sometimes they have this habit of that collarbone, which is visible. Of course, for many of us, collarbone is visible. That's also the structure. But what I'm telling you is they will, they will be literally starving to make the collarbone, very visible. So that is a stage one. And then, as she finally said, that's the situation. So that these are all austerities which are very foolish, right? Now we are going to talk about charity in the modes. And this is a very, very funny chapter. Why I call it funny is the very thought of charity, what comes in your mind? What comes in your mind? Why nobody is
donating something.
Donation.
Thank you so much. Donation, right? So we always understand, I mean, at least for me, to me, charity means there cannot be anything bad. Tapasya can go wrong, yagna can go wrong, but how can something go wrong in charity? I'm giving it to somebody, right? So how can I have a mode in charity? Yes or no? Don't we have this feeling? And many times, there's a very funny word. You know how much dharma I've done? Dharma is religion. This is different. Charity is different from dharma, right? Dharma, tyaga is charity, right? So tyaga, you give, sacrifice, that is sacrifice. But people get confused with all these words. So we are so confused that we don't know which word to use for what, right? So dharma is your religion. So dharma is not giving dharma, right? And now charity, I just told you all, right? If you see my visuals, can you just tell me what could be the occasion of the visual pic which is there? If you want to see more, you can see.
Giving charity.
Krishna's naming
Nanda Maharaj is doing charity at the birth of Sri Krishna.
Mataji, on the occasion of Krishna's birth, Nanda Maharaj is doing charity as a birthday.
Thank you so much. Exactly. So this is in the mode of goodness, wherein he's doing charity. As I just told, birthday parties here. I just explained to you that even our birthday parties used to be very exotic. But thankfully, we used to have, there was never a shortage of food. And I used to tell, right? I was telling you all like how my mom used to make exalted food, and she used to plan the previous day and make sure everybody's full, right? That was the mentality earlier. The mentality is, oh my God, we'll buy from outside, right? And there are other people who say that why do we even need to spend? It's not worth it, yeah. Why do we calling somebody else? Let's just party within ourselves. Forget about others, right? So, and if at all they come, what gift did they give? First thing, right? So I have a nephew. The first thing he will ask is, what gift you got? So when he was 2 years, we were thinking he's a boy, he'll grow up. Now 3 years also that happened. 4 years also it happened. Now he's 12 and still the story goes on. So why happens? Habits, right? Thoughts become actions. Actions become habits, right? We just saw. So the habits continue. So Nand Maharaj had 10 lakh cows. And he used to give away so many cows, like 10,000 cows, which are fully jeweled to very eligible Brahmanas. Why am I telling eligible Brahmana? Is because the Brahmanas will be very qualified and they will exactly be good enough for that particular position or post, right? Now, mode of goodness charity is one more example is Bhagavad Gita. If you see, and I always request each one of you to sell Bhagavad Gita at least to one person once a year, just once a year. Because when you talk about Bhagavad Gita, you are actually selling Krishna Kada. What is the glory of Krishna? Automatically, you have to talk to the person. So that selling Bhagavad Gita, now mode of, in fact, this will again come more as a Suddha Sattva, because giving book of knowledge itself is Sattva Gunam. It's good, mode of goodness. But specifically, if you're giving Bhagavad Gita, you're in the transcendental goodness. So that will literally be even above the mode of goodness, right? So let's go ahead and chant 17.20. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji. Datavyamiti yaddanandiyate nupakarine deshe kale cha patre taddanan satvikam smritam.
Krishna Mataji, the gift which is given out of duty at the proper time and place to a worthy person and without expectation return is considered to be charity in the mode of goodness. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Thank you so much. Yeah, so you should see time, place, and person. Why are we telling even the Bhagavad Gita, if you are going to gift, Namanishta Prabhu always says never gift a Bhagavad Gita. Of course, you can for an occasion like a birthday. What he says, don't give away, because it should not become like books, like even Bible, they give away free, but many people use it as a paperweight, right? The value is lost. So don't undermine the value. Even if they are paying some amount, right? Then only they will know the value of the book. So that is what is specifically told. So what are the divisions of faith? So we saw charity as a duty you do and you don't expect anything, right? So you don't give charity with an expectation that someone will give. And most of the time we do that, right? In a wedding, when we go, we want to give something. And first thing we, hey, what did he give last time? Yeah. Hey, he never gave anything. Why should we give? Hey, they are a little poor. Doesn't matter, yeah. You know, the sari which she wore was so expensive. And if you're telling poor, can't she give 5% of that cost for the wedding? She's having time to deck up herself so much. Yes or no? All these conversations come, right? So you don't expect anything back when you give a charity in goodness. Now, Karna was known for his charity in goodness. The only problem is his association was with bad person, and therefore he is whatever charity he did becomes waste, because your association is really bad. Then you do not get the fruits or the benefits of your work. So you have to really take care of the worthy person. So this is again a very funny video picture. Please go ahead and chant Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Yes, Yattu pratyupakarartham phalamuddishya va punaha diyate cha pariklishtam taddanan rajasam smritam.
Yes, Prabhu, you can do the reading. Hare Krishna. And if you chant also.
Yeah. Hare Krishna Mataji. But charity is performed with expectation of some return, or with a desire of what fruitive results, or a grudging mood, is said to be charity in the mode of passion. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Now, this is I have brought this up earlier, like when we were in we decided on idlis and sambar and pongal. And what happened that time is there were some people, forget about people who didn't give, but even people who gave, who didn't give, or came there and took selfies, right? It was all over in Facebook and all of this because they want to show off, right? So I have my cousin also, like he and his wife for floods. You just don't have time to pick up the phone. They were all of them helping, but they took photo in the midst of flood, showing as if, you know, something where the whole world is falling, and they wanted to picture themselves to post it in Facebook, and we were laughing. How do you even have the time to pick up the phone? And, you know, it was torrential rain, and we have no idea how they had time to do selfies as if they were helping someone. It needs a lot of things, right? So now let's assume that we are all of us here, and Chitra Mataji is here. We also have Kirti Mataji. Just imagine that there is one occasion where Kirti Mataji is borrowing a sari from Chitra Mataji. How will Kirti Mataji feel if Chitra Mataji goes around to each one? Nandita Mataji, you know, Kirti Mataji is wearing my sari. Now Chitra Mataji again goes, Mohandas Prabhu. Oh, nice, Prabhu's here. Okay, Kirti Mataji is wearing a sari. Manasvi, you know, the sari you like it? That is what I gave, Kirti Mataji. How will Kirti Mataji feel? Come on, Kirti, unmute yourself. How would you feel if Chitra Mataji goes around telling everybody that the sari which you're wearing was something which you had to borrow from her?
Very sad. I would feel very bad.
Yeah, you will feel very uncomfortable, right? And this is because it's not that you can't afford. You would have had a situation where either your sari is torn or it's wet or you didn't bring a sari, right? So you still can afford a sari. It's just the situation which made you borrow. Despite that, you're feeling very uncomfortable, right? So imagine this picture. There is somebody who's like really downtrodden. He's like really in a bad situation. He has to give a post because he has to feed his 2 children. Aren't we exploiting the situation and trying to take a selfie? Hey, I took his permission. Obviously, yeah. Obviously, it's like a forced permission, right? So can the person tell no? It's very difficult, right? So it's like the boss. The boss comes and tells, can you give me a paper? You may hate to bring that paper. Or he says like, you know, can you just bring my lunchbox? You feel like throwing the lunchbox on his face, but you then can't do it because it's your boss, right? It's similar to that, right? There is so much of authority. There's so much of power. We are trying to lord over the situation, right? And also there's a classic example of children, right? So they're orphan children. What they do is I sponsor the education of the kid, and they have this picture of this kid in the middle of the hallway. Many times they won't have the kids, their own kids' picture also in the house, but they will have. Just imagine if this child grows up and becomes somebody, right? After a degree, a college, you know, how bad already the child is going through a lot of trauma, that the parents are not there, or they have whatever, they have junked the child, or they have abandoned the child, whichever language you use. So child is already going through terrible mental trauma. On top of it, you tell that I'm sponsoring the education, and you try and put your label to it. How do you think the child will feel? Don't you think it's a kind of exploitation? Yes or no? Ankita is laughing now.
Yes, Mataji. It's an expectation.
Yes,
Yes,
Mataji.
Mataji. Very
Whatever we do
humiliating.
with our right hand, the left hand should not know.
Exactly. Thank you so much. That was very sweet. So you don't even, the right hand, left hand also should not know. So there's one incident, right? So it was a very general get together in the family, and all my cousins were sitting together. And they were telling, hey, Radhika, will you just check for a job for her? I said, okay. So another cousins, I was talking about the selfie, his wife was telling, oh, you tend to help. I told, I don't know what we do, but I don't know. I've never come across any of your photo in the Facebook, right? So we started laughing. I said, I first of all don't have an account, and even if I have, I don't manage the account. We do it for official reasons. So somebody in the office tries to use it more from business point of view. So my another cousin was very hilariously laughing, and she said, yes, because we like to do charity for the sake of the other person, if not for ourselves, but we don't like to publicize it. So sweetly, it came so naturally. She said, yes, we do not post. That is when I really understood, because to me, until that day, for me, charity is charity. All right. I do not understand that charity can have modes. Anything else could have, because I know you do yagna, I know you go to temple for a purpose. Right? But charity, I have never seen a disconnect, right? So this is where the whole thing is. And incidentally, let me finish charity and I will talk about name, right? When you pray Lord with the name, right? So my mom is also here. I have to address this particular topic, which was my unanswered question for a very long time. So, so I'm going back to this charity in passion. So what happened? Expectation of something in return. Now, desire for fruits, right? You have some particular desire from particular fruits and you do in a grudging mood. This is a classic example. Grudging mood. I am so irritated, but let's just do it. Classic example is office. I don't want to do this charity, but my name will get spoiled. I have to do, okay? Because people will look down on me. So I will go ahead and do for this flood. If one, just for repetition. Second is, let me do this. Maybe I will get something in return. There's something in it for me. Or third is, I just don't like it. Just give that and just send the person out. Headache. Sometimes we do that, right? Oh, this person is pestering. Let's just give that and be done with, right? So that kind of charity is also mode of passion. So now we are going to move to the mode of ignorance. Yes.
Yeah, Mataji. Adeshakali yaddanam apatrebhyascha diyate asatkritama vajnyatam tattamasamudahritam.
And the charity performed at improper place, time, and given to unworthy persons without respect, with contempt to this charity in the mode of ignorance. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Reddy Prabhu, nicely you're reading. Prabhu, I asked whether you're Telugu and you're Andhra and you kept quiet. Of course, your surname speaks, but you were so silent. Or did you not, were you not present then?
No, I belong to Telangana Mataji.
I should not show this picture. Okay.
Yeah.
So now what was happening is, as I just keep telling charities, there was one BD, I get confused. BD, okay. So there's this something called BD. BD means is a local cigarette in South, right? So there was somebody who was distributing BDs in the road for beggars. So this is a charity. Now there's one more charity which happens. This is at a lower end. At a higher end charity, it seems my sister-in-law was telling me that Salman Khan enters. He is so charitable by heart. The entire bar is on house, right? So I hope you understand the meaning of on house. On house means technically it's on the owner, but here he will say it's on house means the bill is paid by him. So he is so generous. He's so what is he doing? First of all, bar is alcohol, the combination will be alcohol, chicken, non-veg, right? So two things he is doing. Among the regulatory principle, he is not following is okay. On top of it, he is, beside getting intoxicated, he is getting someone else intoxicated. One. And second thing is, on top of it, he is also encouraging this ugra karma of killing the animals, and in that too in multiple. And imagine if it's free, people will go ahead on a higher level, right? So these are charity in the mode of ignorance, because they just feel this charity needs to be done. It's to an extent it will fall in the passion because it's more for a name, right? When it comes to celebrity, but it will become a classic example of ignorance this side. So also we had, like some of our cousins, my daughter, all of us, we had gone to this place in Annanagar, and I think many of you all will know Dhanush, right? The son-in-law of Rajinikanth. He had this shop, and he was actually giving away very sweetly only the waffle, right? Waffles he was giving. So we added a few and he said, you all need not pay because it's the first day and this is his shop and he's sponsoring. So we immediately, of course, you see, there's one thing which is unlimited in our heart is not love. You know, can anyone tell what is unlimited with us? What is unlimited for all of us?
Demands.
Thanks. That is very nice. Other than that,
Our wants.
Expectations.
the expectation.
Desires.
All this is unlimited list which we give to Krishna. But deep inside also we have something unlimited, is our ahankar, right? Your ego comes, right? So even for me, I felt more eager. Why should he go and sponsor my food? So I have money, so I'll pay, right? This is what came. So it was, I won't even call it as mode of goodness, but I just felt, why should I take it from someone, right? And my other cousin said, anyway, it's coming OC. I said, forget it, yeah. Why should he sponsor? Let's just pay the bill, right? So why am I saying is the act may be same, but someone in mode of goodness would have thought, why should he spend? So I though felt more uncomfortable, I would say. You know, I really can't call it goodness, but I would feel more of restless, right? So this is why I'm saying is this one is definitely more of mode of passion. So it's not that he was doing anything in the mode of ignorance, but it was mode of passion. So, you know, these kind of things happen. When you actually, you know, it's best you give food as prasad, because there you are giving not just charity, but you're also doing Suddha Sattva, right? Vishuddha Sattva. You're taking the person to the next level. Also classic charity. Now somebody is desperate, you have to help. This is the answer which I should have asked you. Now this guy is so desperate. Do you think we should help? Weed means drug. I hope you all know.
Never.
Right? And many times we do this unknowingly, Prabhu, because if you see while we are driving, we offer charity for a lot of kids who are begging in the street. Right? Don't you think it's mode of ignorance? Because the children are coming begging in the street and children are getting kidnapped because we are paying them money. We are indirectly trying to buy children trafficking unknowingly. We don't do it deliberately, but we are giving it. So the charity, if the child is kidnapped and is made to beg in the street, and we give money, and more such money giving will encourage more of this, right? So this is again jumping into ignorance, because we are concerned. We think we are in the mode of goodness, but what are we actually doing? We are actually in the mode of ignorance, right? Unknowingly. So this is very evident. If someone tells I need a drug, we'll tell get lost. But if a child comes and says I have not had food, we'll have the tendency. Yes, you can buy food and give, nothing wrong, but do we really buy food? We just push for time and we will go on. Now, this is charity in ignorance, right? Impure place, improper, untrustworthy person, no proper attention and no proper respect, right? Bound by charity. So these are
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhu.
Sorry for interruption in between. I have a question here. I mean, on charity, there can be a situation which actually doesn't fall into any of this category.
Example,
that is basically, I'll tell you, the situation is in modern world. The charity is absolutely real classic charity done by a pharma company or or a cigarette company or an alcohol company. Actually, it is a charity if you look at the charity, but the entire thing is done just to cover up the other, wrongdoings. So how do you see that?
Prabhu, are you talking about the charity done by a cigarette company to whom?
To the actual needy. I mean, that charity.
Okay, so you're talking about the social cause. So this is a mandate very recently come where your 5% of the profits as per the corporate policy has.
That's a CSR.
Right.
Yeah.
So now, first and foremost, I can't even categorize this as charity because it's a regulation, Prabhu. It's like income tax. Do you love to pay income tax? Let's be honest. Let's all be very, very honest. We have 50 of us in this class. All of us, do we love to pay income tax? Do we laugh and pray? I literally sometimes I get really irritated. Even though
some are even before this regulation, people are doing that because they knew that they're into a business which is not correct, which is detrimental to the society. So they need to cover. They need to cover themselves.
No, they want to cover their conscience, or they want to cover the society.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So they're doing a charity, but that's actually not with that intention of charity. Intention is something else.
What is the intention, Prabhu?
Intention is to, just to create a brand that, okay, we are doing this, but at the same time, we are also compensating this much for the society.
I'm waiting for that. I'm waiting for you to tell. So therefore, why do they do that, Prabhu?
Yeah, that's the intent is very clear. Like the intent is that
So that's
we
mode of
want to
passion,
go
no, Prabhu. So if you
Yeah,
have the intent itself, you are moving into passion, right? Now the person who is the doer can be in the mode of ignorance. Now these people are doing wrong activities, so they are in mode of ignorance. But the charity is in the mode of passion. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Right? The charity is
Yeah,
that is
if you
passion.
connect both the things, then it becomes a mode of passion. But if
Exactly.
you just
You have to
look
connect,
at
no,
the
Prabhu. You have to connect because you can't leave independently loose souls, because anything action has to be connected, right? For example, Prabhu, I may be someone who is very good. I may be in absolute mode of goodness. I am genuinely good, okay? And I go ahead and pay a person who says I have to pay college fees. Okay, I'm doing with a good heart, but this fellow goes and buys a drug. Now I am done with a good heart, but unfortunately that fellow I have not checked, right? So that also is a mistake. Now, if I may be very soft-hearted and I've seen the guy is having a drug and shivering, and I'm giving money because I feel if he is not having drug, he will die. My heart is good, but the mode is different. You are understanding, Prabhu? The mode I'm doing is...
Yeah, understand, Mataji.
See,
Hare Krishna,
charity itself is mode of goodness largely, Prabhu, because you don't give charity unless you want to give. You may have a different intent, but overall, if BD, for a poor person, you have a soft corner that the person will not be able to manage without a BD. Your heart is very pure. That means your heart is in the mode of goodness, but you do not know which is right and wrong, right? Now, there is always one unresolved doubt, which I've always asked my mom. Okay, and this is about, what do you call Archana? So what do you tell in English? So, do you remember when you go to a temple, the pujari asks, or whenever when you do your yagna, the pujari asks, can you tell your name, your gotram, your family name, your star? Do you remember? Do you all come across this in North also? I know it's in South. Can someone North tell me? Do you all have something like this?
Yes, Mataji.
It is there everywhere.
Yes, Mataji, everywhere. Yes.
Everywhere. Okay. So when were you born? All this.
Not also they ask.
They asked. Thank you so much. So so this is a practice, right? So from ever since I'm a child, I've never done Archana ever in my name or anybody's name. I used to tell, okay, do in God's name. Okay, and I had a different reason. Not that I knew Vedas. I never knew. But I always felt, why should I give all this? Won't God know my care of address? This is what I've always felt, right? No, God, we want to tell because, he needs to know what problem you are. Imagine if God needs to maintain a list and only by the list he will know, then imagine the list will be very big, right? So this always used to be an ideology which I have, and I keep telling my mom. She used to tell, okay, it's your wish, but I want to. I said, okay, it's your wish, you give, but I will not root anything. So later, very late, after many years, right? Very recently, in fact, I would say a few days back, I got a clarity. Mommy, you're listening because this is for you. Archana, why you're doing, right? You heard. Mom is also here, so I'm just telling, please here, I'm not going to repeat. So she's like, I was telling her, oh my God, I'm doing this because of the fact that they say that our mind does not have concentration. So this particular care of address is not for God, it is for you. So the pujari is getting your attention towards God so that you don't gossip or your mind doesn't fluctuate. What is your name? Radhika. What is your gotra? So you're looking at the God and you're answering the question. So she says all these 5 questions or 6 questions are for you to give a chance to connect to God, not by the gotra, but by your concentration on God. So when you tell each thing, your gotra is this, I'm telling my name, my family name, your mind is involved in that particular concept and your focus is in the puja and your focus doesn't fly the way usually we fly, which I totally agree. If can anyone tell, I went to the temple for 10 minutes, I had undivided attention. I definitely can't. Can anyone tell that? 10 minutes. I still remember the waiting line is a major storytelling time. In the waiting line only, everybody talks, right? So much of discussion will happen. Somebody will look at the sari. Oh, nice sari. There was some Mataji who came and told me also, Mataji, can you believe that lady? She's so well dressed to a temple. I said, so what? Okay, she's at least dressing well to a temple, unlike me. I will be like the same baked dress I'll wear and go to the temple also. Because that person is good. No, but she'll wear makeup all the time. Good. If she wears makeup all the time and she's also wearing to a temple, then she's great. right? Because she's treating the place equally. If she does not wear makeup for any place and goes to a temple with makeup, then also great, because she's dressing for Krishna. But if she wears makeup for everything and goes like a beggar to the temple, then it means that she's not serious about Krishna, right? So that is something which we have to really follow. So I hope we've understood this, and this is something which I wanted to tell. And remind me, if you remind me, I will tell you the story of celibacy about Krishna and Durvasa Muni at the end, if we have time. Hopefully we should. If all of you are full of energy, or you need a 1-minute break, because this is a very important topic, and this is the last topic, Om Tat Sat. And I'm
Mataji, full, ready and energetic.
I think Mataji, you need some break.
Sorry?
I think you need some break.
My mom told the same, Prabhu. Thank you so much. My mom is telling, as Manasvi is telling that she needs energy. She has energy, but here it's gone. No, Prabhu, I'm okay to tell. Thank you so much. Right?
Mataji, you can take rest.
Oh, no, thank you so much, sweetheart. I'll go ahead with this. Om Tat Sat. Om Tat Sat will give me energy. So, Om. Now, I'm going to ask you all.
Mataji, during Mataji, Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
During this break, can I ask you one question?
I'm not giving a break. I'm taking the next chapter. But you can ask the question. Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, like it's a small question. Charity given to the transgenders, like they say that the curse of the transgenders comes true. So automatically in the traffic signals, they come and ask for the, they beg. So before they ask, we only take and give the money. So somewhere or the other we'll have in the mind that they may curse. So how do you take this?
They may
curse. The curse of the transgenders becomes.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Mataji, can you show me a writing which says that the curse of a transgender is bad?
No, Mataji, I don't have anything in writing, but people keep on saying that things. Like during some functions also, mostly in the north, during the naming ceremony.
No, I'm aware of that. I'm aware of it. I'm from India, so I'm totally aware of it. I'm only asking, give me a Vedic proof.
No, Mataji, no.
Okay. So there is a story in Kerala where, I've told this earlier, but I will just tell it in a line, that they have a principle of getting a marriage done by keeping the cats locked in the cage. So that day there was a marriage in a particular part of Kerala, and they did not find the cats, and they were hard pressed to find the cats on the day. And later they realized that if they traded this back, and they found that the concept was because there used to be a lot of cats in the village, right? And the cats used to cause a lot of distress in the village because they used to conduct them in the early morning. So they used to collect all the cats and put in the cage, and they used to conduct the wedding. This was a practice, not belief. But the practice became a belief. And the day when they never had cats, they were searching for a cat. The purpose of locking the cat is because of nuisance. And later the cat continues to be a nuisance because the cat does not exist physically, but it is mentally. So the concept of transgender is not mentioned anywhere. It's just in the word say. In fact, this was a question which many of the kids asked, that transgender, how should it be treated, right? Because Christianity does not support transgender, but Bhagavad Gita talks about transgender. If you're aware, we have Sikandi. Yeah. So Sikandi was a girl, and she went and, forget the purpose, we'll not get into it. She went and made herself a boy, whatever be the reason. So there was a transgender which is appreciated. Is there anyone in Mahabharata or Bhagavad Gita who's criticized Sikandi? I mean, Duryodhana has criticized everyone. Don't take their names, but is there anyone who has criticized Sikandi?
No.
No, in fact,
No,
Sikandi was popular for the, Sikandi was a very good warrior.
Exactly. Did Sikandi go and beg for money?
No.
No, Mataji.
So why did they not give her money?
Because she did not wish money.
Yeah. So the transgenders evolved as beggars because of the fact that nobody hired them. That's a different story. But transgender curse or blessing does not matter. I have a lot of respect for transgenders because I just remember in a temple in Mumbai, there was so much crowd. So this is this Mahavishnu temple, Mahalakshmi temple. There was so much crowd, and we all went after office, and there was this lady on one side and the man on the other side. And I still remember there was a small child, 6 months child. Okay, and what happened is the child, they wanted me to pass, and I took the child, but for some reason the child was slipping off my hand. Right. So maybe because I was sort of fresh out of college and I had not handled the child or something, the child was slipping out and I was really scared. There was so much crowd and I didn't have so much space to, you know, pick the child and do it. And when the child was slipping, there was a transverse only who held the child, right, for a second. And she said, don't worry. And she took and gave. Now, this transverse is an amazing person, right? Because she never expected money. She never asked and she was absolutely fine. So why I'm saying is there were transverses who are genuinely good. So there was also a situation where I was waiting in the street, right? And I was waiting for someone to pick me up. 3-4 transverses and said, is everything okay? Don't worry. And they went. They never asked money. They never insulted me. They didn't. So what I'm telling you is we have our own feeling if the transverse curses. Now, there is the same thing. Okay, transfer is just a person, right? So this black magic and ghosts are powerful. Do you agree ghosts are more powerful than us? Is there a disconnect in this? Or are we in sync? Are ghosts more powerful?
Mataji, if we are in Shuddha Sattva, ghosts cannot touch us. So we are more powerful.
Thank you so much. So basically the ghost is something which does not have a body and is as of now more powerful than us because it can enter anyone provided they are in tamas quality. If your quality is tamasic and if your actions are tamasic, ghosts can invade. Nothing. So if a ghost possesses, if the ghost gets into a body, it's called possessing. If the ghost keeps control of a house, it's called haunting. All right. Ghost possesses person and haunts the place. And ghosts are real. And my mom doesn't agree. So we had this argument also about ghosts. She says, no, I will not believe. Doesn't matter. Whether you believe or not, it doesn't matter, but they exist, right? So it came as a shock for me when I was in my first class of Bhagavad Gita. But why is it as a shock? Currently, we know that Paramatma is in our heart, right? We are also Atma. But the problem is we are looking this side. So naturally, the ghost can come before us. There's a chance. Used to be. Now it's different. Now we are looking to Paramatma this way. Now the difference could be there. If somebody who's a devotee or beginning a devotee may have so much of distance between Paramatma and us. Somebody who's a pure devotee may be like this. But it doesn't matter. The moment now we've all turned. Now the possibility of ghost coming here in the middle is scared, not because of you. Just imagine Krishna is behind. Whether he is so far or whether he is so close doesn't matter. He'll give one talk for the to the ghost. Do you think the ghost will have the guts to come in between Paramatma and us? Forget about whether you can handle or not. Will the ghost have the guts to come?
No, Mataji.
So for all the 50,
no. To become a devotee. That's why we are trying to become a devotee.
So I have one more news for you. So 50 of you all who are here, which also applies to black magic. Black magic can only affect tamasic nature people. It cannot get. Maybe Rajasic, even Rajas quality is difficult because they have a lot of determination. So it's not going to work. So someone told me if you're bold, it will not come. What if I am in the mode of goodness but still scared? Somebody can be in the mode of goodness but still have a little bit of fear, right? So mode of goodness or Rajasic, they're not. Tamasic only they come. Now I want to tell one declaration for 50 of you all who are in the class. Now there is no way the ghosts can possess. Are you all convinced with this? There is no way you will come across or encounter a ghost. Does that make you feel okay? Or anyone feel that you want to do a Ghostbuster or a Casper and you are going to be disappointed? Is that okay? Anyone wants to meet a ghost or encounter or interview a ghost?
No, Mataji.
Are you sure? Any regrets? Because I'm taking you all to the last stage of Bhagavad Gita and you know you don't have choice to enter hell. You don't have chance to go get trapped by black magic. You can't be possessed by ghosts. House cannot be haunted by ghosts. You have so many points which is exciting, which you will be missing. Is that okay with all of you all?
Yeah, that's okay. But interview is what I think it would be interesting. I don't know.
Interview will be interesting, no Prabhu. That you might have to take it up in Goloka Vrindavan with Krishna. So interview of a ghost may not be that interesting because it may not be like the interview which you saw you see in the TV with a mic and a big TV screen. It can be one slap from the ghost also. That also can be the interview which the ghost can do. I mean, that was on a lighter note because we really do not know how they will intervene or they will interview. So it sounds interesting. And the term I used because someone was telling me that there's a bank which we were working was haunted by ghosts. So they used to tell me to leave by 6. I used to tell, okay, I'll stay here. If the ghosts come, I'll interview. Because not because of Bhagavad Gita, but because I never believed in ghosts then. Now I believe, oh my God, Krishna, oh my Krishna, ghost is there. But thankfully, we're all turning towards Krishna. The possibility of ghost is not there at all. Yes, Sonal Mataji, do you want to ask something?
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Mataji, I had a question since you spoke about black magic. Like, what if a person is in the mode of goodness and still can he be prone by any chance to whatever is being done by other people? Like black magic only I'm asking. with
Black
reference-
magic is a art. Black magic is a knowledge. It's a Veda. It's a Tamasic Veda. It's a proper science. It's not. It's a learned art. Like how we tell Ayurveda. It's a Ayurveda is coming under the Sattvic Vedas, right? Rig Veda is also Sattvic Vedas, right? So there is a Rig Veda which says, which I'm going to anyway talk in Om, since you asked, right? So it says Om Vishnu Padaya. So it comes to the Vishnu Pada, right? So this is from Rig Veda. So these are all coming under the Sattvic. Same way, black magic is coming under the Tamas quality. So it's a science which is followed in Kerala, and we are now two things. There are no intelligent people to follow the science. So that is gone. But going by the fact that even if they hired somebody from the deep forest who is very clear, they cannot do Mataji. They cannot do this. So even psychologically, a psychiatrist, my dad, friend, is a psychiatrist, and his son is also a psychiatrist. He was saying that hypnotism he can do only if I cooperate or the patient cooperates. So he was telling on a very casual note. He said that for somebody like you, it's very difficult for me to hypnotize unless I influence you with a drug, right? He says, unless you cooperate. So same way with black magic also, unless the person cooperates. So somebody in the mode of goodness will not cooperate. I'm not telling consciously, even subconsciously, they will not cooperate. There are certain qualities for a mode of goodness. It will not just work. So fear can be associated with goodness, but somebody cannot take over you in the mode of goodness. It's very unlikely. Sometimes you are getting my point, Mataji. Like there are some qualities which are inherent for a particular mode. So for a mode of goodness, cannot associate with the tamas quality. It will never associate. So
Mataji, is there a possibility of, I mean, we don't know much about black magic, but is there a possibility that, some black magic is at level 1 and some black magic is at maybe some level 10 or something?
True.
So whether that high voltage black magic,
high voltage will not affect tamas, Prabhu. That's what I'm saying. So somebody in the mode of, Sattva Guna. So I will ask you one thing, Prabhu. So in Sattva Guna, right, there is something called, there is alcohol, right? So alcohol also, you have alcohol on rocks. You have alcohol. Is there a power in alcohol also? No. Do you have a percentage of alcohol?
Yeah. Yes.
Even in alcohol? Okay, I thought only in beer and wine you have. So like that, so we have this variation. So can you tell that the someone in the mode of goodness will take the least affected alcohol? You don't say that, right? You say that a person in the mode of goodness does not touch alcohol, whether it's 100% alcohol or 0% alcohol. Yes or no?
No, that's right. My point was.
I know, I'm coming to it.
Yeah.
So therefore, somebody in Sattva Guna, even 100% black magic or a 1% black magic will not affect her or him.
No, actually, I was saying, I was thinking rather that, as part of the Krishna conscious, person, 4 regulatory principles are, fully followed by a person. Let's say fully followed by a person. However, maybe some other things in terms of daily puja, in terms of daily chanting or something of that sort is, let's say, missing. Then whether he will, he will get affected.
No, Prabhu. The moment he becomes a devotee of Krishna, black magic will not affect, because they are heading towards Suddha Sattva. It is just not possible. It's been scientifically also proved. It's been spiritually also stated in Vedas.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, right? So there is no way a black magic can affect the person. See, Suddha Sattva also, Prabhu, whatever you're telling, I will go by austerities also. Everything is following 16 principle, everything. Okay. Now you are his friend. I'm just taking an example, Prabhu, and you feel that you want to really mess up with him, and therefore in his food you mix alcohol, you give. Still he will be in Suddha Sattva only, Prabhu, because he's been fooled by that. He is not doing it consciously. You understand, no, Prabhu? So even then, Tamasic ghost or Tamasic
Yes,
Mataji.
it is the same. It's the same story of, somebody who is going to the brothel and someone who is going to the temple, and
exactly.
Who is going to hell.
Clean. So the person cannot be approached by all this.
But once I heard a story that a devotee was haunted by a ghost.
Who? I was haunted.
Yeah, a devotee was haunted by a ghost. They were going to this Mayapur, and on the way to Mayapur, they were sitting in bus, and a mother all of a sudden started shouting and all, and they know she has been haunted by a ghost. Just I heard in a lecture this one.
I'm sorry, Mataji, I'm not aware. This is a news to me because it is very unlikely. Mataji, there's one thing you should understand is, see, the moment you start chanting and all, it's very unlikely. In fact, it's not possible.
And Mataji, one more thing, and the ghost was also a devotee who had left his body after completing his sadhana. Because that the ghost said that I'm not going to leave this person's body unless I reach Mayapur. And same happened. They reached Mayapur and the ghost left the body and went away.
Oh, acha. So that must be some sweet devotee ghost, Mataji. That's a nice thing. But there is one story, but not around the ghost course. It's like I'm not. I'm sorry, Mataji. I don't know the story, so I can't comment. But whatever it is, what you're telling is a different point, right? So the ghost also is not in tamas quality. The ghost also is in a mode of goodness and trying to reach Mayapur itself. It's a very saintly thought, right? So it's not trying to do harm. So that's a point which you are also conveying through your story. So with this, I will move on to Om Tat Sat before it's too late and you all want to sleep. Can we go ahead and we will take questions at the end again? Hare Krishna. So now,
Hare Krishna. Yeah.
Thank you so much. So I want all of you to, or many of whoever knows, can you tell me some shloka which stands with Om or Hari Om, whichever?
Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
So many.
Yeah, I know. I want to hear. Oh, amazing. Thank you. Next.
Om Saraswati Namaha. Om
Namo Narayana,
Om Namo.
Mataji, like that.
Thank you so much.
Om
So let me take
Mataji, Hare Krishna also.
Om Namo
I'm talking about actually Om. Hare Krishna has inbuilt Om. I'll come to that later. So now why I'm telling is Om. Okay. Om talks about OM or AU. OM also, if you expand, it's omnipresent, omnipotent, and omniscient. And you all know the meaning. So I'm not getting into it. Present everywhere, prevailing everywhere and all over, right? All knowledgeable. So everything, right? So Om is contained in that. Now let's other religion just for the sake of discussion. So even the Christians have Amen, right? Amen. Or Muslims have Ameen, right? So everything has the same sound. Can you tell me a chapter which discusses that Om is a sound vibration and Krishna is present in Om? We've already discussed this. Which chapter is this?
10th chapter, Mataji.
Sorry?
10th, no?
Thank you so much. Yes, it's 10th chapter where we spoke about Om, right? Now Om, A-U-M, A talks cover up of Akara. It will come later. And U talks about Radha Rani, Ukara, and Makara is, right? So this is what Om means. And Om is nothing but the sound vibration of Vishnu. Now, before I get into the depth, it means absolute truth. Before anything, whether you talk about any Devata or anyone, it starts with Om. I want to explain this Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om, you know, Namo means, you all know, obeisances. Bhagavate represents the 16 opulences Bhagavan. Right? It can mean Krishna also, it can mean Narayana also, it can mean Rama also, right? So it's like Om now represents the entire government of India, and this Namo Bhagavate represents, let's say, Prime Minister. Now, Vasudevaya is more specific. Like, if how would Modi's mother call Modi? She will not call PMs, right? She's going to call him as Modi, right? Or whatever, Chintu, Modi, whatever she calls him. So Vasudeva is more personal. So Vasu means living, right? Of course, Vasudeva is also father. Name is Vasudev, and this is a son. And Vasudevaya also talks about Vasu means living, and Deva means superior or the heart, right? So that is the meaning of Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. I want why I'm going really slow here is because I never understood what Om Tat Sat meant. Right? So wherever I feel I have not understood, I know I'm being a judge, but I feel that I will pay more attention, because if it is difficult for me, then I am assuming that I will take more time to explain, because it could be confusing for me too. I never understood what it meant in the 18 days course. So I understood only in level 2. To be very frank, I understood only in level 3. So I just feel that, I will try my best to put it forward the way I have understood now. If you still don't understand, we can definitely try and understand together, right? So Om actually means the absolute truth. There is nothing which can stop this kind of an absolute truth, is what is the Om starting with, right? Now this Om, there are two names called the primary name and secondary name. Krishna, Vasudevaya, or Nanda Kumara, Yashoda Kumara, Madan Mohana, or Radha, whatever, everything is the direct name, right? Whereas if you take Paramatma, Paramam, or Purusha, then all these names, right? Upadrishta, that means supervisor, all these are material names given not in the spiritual world, because he is neither a Anumanta or a Upadrishta. He is not a maintainer nor he is a grantor, because there everybody have a free will, right? So primary names are used in the spiritual world, secondary names are used here. Om largely signifies the secondary name usage, and it is largely to do with Brahma. Brahma means not Lord Brahma, but the Brahman effulgence, right? It's there. Right now we are going to see Om, and then I will explain that. Then you will follow. Please read Hare Krishna 17.23.
From the beginning of the creation, three syllables Om Tat Sat have been used to indicate the supreme absolute truth, bracket Brahman. They were uttered by Brahmanas while chanting Vedic hymns and during sacrifices for the satisfaction of Supreme. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. They were uttered by Brahmins, right? So any hymns were spoken by Brahmins, and it is for the satisfaction of Supreme. So Om, we all saw it's a sound vibration of Krishna, and therefore there is so much of satisfaction to be used to indicate. So it represents a supreme absolute truth, right? And please go ahead, and I will read the Sanskrit part. Om iti etad brahmano nedishtham. Nama indicates the first goal. So Om also talks about the first goal, which is the beginning. So what is the first goal is to understand Krishna, right? So it's a beginning, it's a starting, right? To understand absolute truth. Who is he? We talk about self-realization, understanding the goal, understanding who is God. I am not the body, I am the soul. All the initial concept, understanding the beginning of Vishnu. Om means Vishnu actually, right? It is in beginning because we want to indicate the Vedic hymns, and Vishnu largely talk about material, right? So here is what he is talking about. And Om, how Om is a starting. Tat will give you the answer for the next continuation. Yes, please go ahead. Sorry. Hare Krishna. Please read this one, 17.24.
Thus the transcendentalist undertakes sacrifices, charities, and penances, beginning always with Om to attain the Supreme. Om iti it Brahmano Dhistam Nama indicates the first goal. Om means Vishnu, it plays at the beginning of Vedic hymn to indicate the supreme goal. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Thank you so much. So many of you all told Om Shiva, all this is there. So very clearly it says that Shiva also, right? We have this shloka. Shri Rama Rama Ramiti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranana Tattulyam Varaname Shri Rama Nama Varaname Om Nama Iti, right? Om Nama Iti. There also is coming. So what does it mean? If you do not have time, so Parvati is coming and telling, I don't have time for thousands name of Vishnu. What should I do? So he says, no problem. You tell the name of, right? Rama Nama Varaname. So if you tell Rama's name, that's sufficient, right? Om Nama Iti. His name is fine. That's it, right? So that is equal. So that time also he is telling Om. So everywhere, Namah Shivaya also you are telling Om. So everywhere Om is there. So 17.25, we are talking about Tat, right? So what is Tat? Tat talks about liberation. It completely talks about, I will tell you a better word, you'll understand. Nishkama Karma Yoga. That's a word which we are familiar, right? So you do any work for the sake of, all works are for Krishna, right? What will happen if you do work? You will get liberated and go to spiritual world. That's what we are doing. And if you do the work, you're already liberated, because whatever activity you do is beyond the material platform. It's in the spiritual platform. And it is completely for the sake of liberation, right? So Tattvam Asi means Asi, this, right? Tvam, you, Tat. So that's what they're trying to tell. Something, activities which get you to liberation. So that is what it means. Please go ahead and read 17.25.
One should perform sacrifice, penance, and charity with their word Tat. The purpose of such transcendental activities is to get free from the material and entitlement. Tat evam asi. Bracket Chindoga Upanishad 6.8.7. That describes detached work for the sake of liberation. These activities are done with disregard for material results. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. So classic examples, anything you do, like, all the activities which are done around Krishna, right? Any activity, for example, give all the fruits. You do an activity either for Krishna or give all the fruits to Krishna, right? Which means it's nothing but Neshkama Karma Yoga, right? You do all activities, give, like what Krishna is telling Arjuna. You will fight the battle, but you will do it for me. Just do it as a duty, right? So Tat largely refers to the duty aspect of it. It's a perform. So if you see, this is the beginning. Now this is the performance, right? So this, right, this is one. And then we are talking about 26 and 27. We are going to talk about Sat. You also know this one. If I explain this, you will understand better. Ishwara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha. So what is the Satchidananda? Satcha means eternal bliss, right? So Sat means eternal. So there is this word which I used to use, objective and object. Like in Ashtanga Yoga, the object of worship is Krishna, not the objective. Example, objective means your final goal, right? Your destination. Why are you studying? Because I want to become a doctor, which means your objective is to become a doctor, right? Why are you studying? Because I want to get more money. Objective is money, right? Your object can be different. For example, Ashtanga yogis do meditate on Paramatma as an object, but their objective is not to reach Krishna as a supreme person of Godhead, but they want to reach the Brahma Jyoti. So the object is different from the objective. But when the object and objective become same, you become a devotee, right? So the absolute truth is the objective, which means your end is Krishna. It doesn't mean the beginning and middle is not Krishna. We have already studied in the 8th chapter, right? Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu ma manushmaran yuddhacha mayarpita mano buddhi mame vaishyasya asamshaya. That means what? I will definitely go and reach him, right? Everything, mind, everything you give it to him, then you will come and reach me. So his objective is this, right? And 11.55 also very clearly, no, before that, 10.9, right? There also they talk about the purpose. What does it tell? Mat chitta mat gata pranam mat. Anyone knows the 10.9? No, I should not.
Mat chitta mat gata pranaha kathayantascha
bodhayante parasparam.
Bodhayantascha parasparam. Kathayantascha nityam. Kathayantascha nityam.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Prabhu. Very good. So these are 4 things. So you can understand that Kada, Tushyanti. So all this is telling that you should always.
Tushyanti cha Ramanti cha. Yes, yes.
Yeah, that's what she said. So basically, Ramanti means happiness, right? So everything he's telling should be revolving around Krishna. So the objective here in all these cases, if you see, is Krishna, right? So that is what is very beautifully spoken. So the absolute, and same way 11.55, what does that say? 11.55, will someone tell? Mat karma krit mat paramo. Anyone? Mat karma krit mat paramo. Mat bhakta sangha vraja nir. Anyone? I'm still giving her one more line. Nirmamo nir ahankara.
Nirmamo nirohankara.
Shama dukha suga.
Sama dukha sukha. Sama dukha sukha.
Sama is equal.
Shami.
Yeah. So why am I saying that? So he says that somebody who's always very, so everywhere, can you see, why am I bringing this up? Is because everywhere you have to give this up, right? So that is very important. Also, one more thing, I'm just trying a little detail. Mataji, you were specifically talking about transgender. I wanted to tell this, right? What does Krishna tell? He says, Sarva dharmyam parityaga, whatever is your religion, give up all religion. So if you believe transgender, we have to do, please give up. He's talking about whatever you followed as an austerity, give up, because you have to follow what I am telling. Now it's enough, you surrender to me. So even if you are believing transgender will curse, that's a belief, right? So don't give weightage to the belief. That's something which I wanted to tell. And now back to this little detail, just suddenly remembered. So I went to that. So I'm now back into this. The absolute truth now is the object, which means it's eternal. So what is eternal? So for example, cleaning the temple of the deity, it's eternal, because we already saw Swalpam apyasya dharmasya trayate mate brad. So even if you do little, right? It's permanent credit in your bank. So now I'm not talking about cleaning the temple, and I took that as an example because whether you are a pujari in the temple or cleaning the temple for God, it's all service, right? So anything, preaching is one more excellent service. So all of you all should have be preachers. And Nandita, if possible, just float admin support. You all want it, right? Admin, there are a lot of people. You don't have to be very advanced admins like Nandita Mataji or Mohandas Prabhu, where they go to the next level of doing presentation, sharing stories. But you can just do a small help of just forwarding the reminders, right? So that is also a service, right? So that's also eternal. So the activity, what you do becomes eternal. It's a service because it is done for the service of Lord. And what is the nature of that? It is transcendental because the activity is transcendental. Nobody gets money out of it, right? Nobody gets any benefit, and nobody is really getting anything out of the particular activity, but it is only transcendental. It's not material benefit. That's the point. In such activity, the performer of the action also becomes eternal. Why? Because by doing all this activity, you think you will be anymore in the material world. First of all, in the material world itself, you are elevated and liberated. Even otherwise, you are getting into Goloka Vrindavan. The activities also aim at getting in. As I said, the ultimate end destination we all know is a spiritual world, and therefore we'll all get liberated. And the benefits of the activities are also eternal. It's not like a bank account, right? You don't lose credits. Therefore, you will continue to stay eternally. So that's the beauty. And this is what I already spoke to you all. It's in Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Lila 7.128. Please go ahead and read this, which we have already explained.
Yeah. Actually, the transcendental sound Omkara, although the combination of three letters A, U, and M was transcendental for potency, and one who chants Omkara will soon realize Omkara, Lord Vishnu, to be non-different. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Right, so very clearly Om means there is no thing. Now coming back to our Manasvi's question, Hare Krishna is also yes, because Hare Krishna is a direct, Omkara is indirect addressing of Vishnu. It's like secondary way of addressing, right? Whereas Hare Krishna is a direct addressing of Krishna. So you're already calling Hare Krishna, you're calling Krishna only. Why will you put Om before that, right? So that is what it is there. Yeah, so this one I'll read this, the content you can read. No, Manasvi, you're there. Come on, chant.
Okay, Mataji. Akareno tyate krishna sarvalokaikanaayakah ukareno tyate radha makaro jivavakah. Yes, Mataji.
Thank you so much.
Akara means Krishna. Letter Akara refers to Krishna, who is Sarva Loka Nayaka, the master of all living entities and planets, material and spiritual. Letter Ukara indicates Srimati Radharani, the pleasure of potency of Krishna, and Akara indicates the living entities. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much. Now this is the last verse, and it is 17.28. It talks about Asat. Now what does Asat mean? Right? Asat is opposite of Sat. So Sat means eternal and complete belief. Asat means where you do not, because the whole chapter here is about faith, right? So Asat means where you do not have belief. And why are we talking about Asat is both in this current life and in the next life, it becomes useless because you don't have belief. One classic example are many times you will be forced to do, right? You don't believe in something, but you will be forced to do. Example, children. They won't like we force them and do it, right? They just do it for the sake of it. They don't believe. Or sometimes all the friends have a get together. Mama, before exam, we are all going for a temple. Mother and father will tell, wow, such great devotee children we have, please go. But what will they do? They will still go to the temple, but that will be a get together spot for them. They may not even remember which god they went or which temple they went and what puja they did, right? So these kind of things are more asset, right? Please go ahead and read this one, last answer.
But the sacrifices are austerities and charities performed without faith in Supreme are non-permanent or son of Partha, regardless of whatever rites are performed. They are called asat and are useless both in his life and the next. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. So very clearly, so anything which is performed without faith becomes asat, which is not permanent. Not only in the current janma, artha janma, next janma also it will not get carried forward. Obviously, when you don't have faith, what's the point, right? So they see the faith and love are a little tricky. For example, can you give me an example of where somebody has a lot of love and no faith? Lot of love, no faith. Okay, give me a reverse. Lot of faith, but no love. A lot of love and no faith. 5 months old child or a 1 year old child. Mother has a lot of love, but no faith. She'll never get a knife, right? Lot of faith, doctor, but no love. Do you love your doctor? You first hate your doctor to go to the hospital.
No, Mataji, we don't love our doctor.
Yes. So they are not necessarily the same, right? So Shraddha becomes different. And I always tell, if I'm going to tell in this group, I trust you so much, I trust you. The first thing which you'll all react is, don't you trust me more? Why only 99%? 19, that 1% which is missing is what makes a difference, right? So Shraddha is the most important thing in the entire world. So imagine if somebody is coming and telling you, okay, like we are 50 of us. So let's say I'm going to look here and tell Hare Krishna, Nandita Mataji, I'm 100%, I love you so much. I trust you 90%. Chitra Mataji, I love you so much. I trust you 89%. Kirti Mataji, I love you so much. I love you 92%. Manasvi Mataji, I love you so much. I love you 94%. Manasvi, what will you say?
Mataji, it's okay if you love me.
Will you say, is it okay? Now I'm going to ask the same question to Nandita. Nandita,
No.
okay if I tell
Why not 100%?
Why? I told I love you, no?
I know, but you don't trust me, no?
Thank you so much. So this is what happens, right? For a child like Manasvi, the word love means a lot, right? Because that's a stage. But as you get more mature, right? So that is when you grow to a higher stage of the mode, what happens is love alone is not sufficient. Trust becomes important. So even if I'm going to tell love you 5 times, the moment trust factor is not there, then I am lost, right? I'm not able to ring a bell. I'm not able to strike. I have never, ever checked once also whether Nandita has sent the message correctly, nor have I checked with Mohandas Prabhu if he has forgotten to send a reminder, unless he tells me, right? That, okay, I check for a different purpose. I check for whether the questions are answered, that's different. But I will never have, in that process, if I notice they have not sent, fine. But even before I could think they will send, that's a different story. Because if you don't trust them, right? And I should be saying this in a recording, but I have given my pin to both, right? In spite of the fact there are people who have told me not to give. The point what I feel is, if there is trust, either you have it 100% or don't have it, right? So if I do not have trust in them, I would prefer to not deal with them as admins or whatever, rather than to deal with them and keep them at a 90% trust, just like how Nandita. So even if I tell I love you, and if I don't trust them, that means that I am not really considering, or we are not scaling up, right? So trust and faith becomes the most important point, right, in the devotional service. So please remember this, as you are progressing, your faith towards Krishna has to go up, and that is why you're doing Krishna Katha and all, right? So let's have a quick recap. 17.1 to 7, modes determine the range, right? The gray area, my color is also gray, right? So between the mode of goodness, that is Sutta Sattva, and between the divine quality and demonic quality, complete faith and zero faith, there is a range, right? And that range is decided by the modes, decided by the food we eat, all sattvic food, whatever we told is sattva. But the moment you eat it as prasad, it becomes Sutta Sattva, because you have saliva of Krishna. Sacrifices, yagna, okay, they are in the, they also have 3 modes, right? We saw, and therefore sacrifices have to be done without expecting result for it to be sattvic. Austerities also, we should not expect anything, with a reciprocation or a profit in mind. Same way, charity should be done with the right person, place, and time. And finally, we conclude with Om Tat Sat, where Om is the actual pranama mantra, right? It's the first initial beginning, right? And Sat is the eternal word. And with this, we will conclude chapter 17. Hare Krishna. Vancha kalpa darubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Hare Krishna. All of you, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare Rama,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Rama Jayanti. Someone asked me about fasting. Fasting is only till 12. For Rama Jayanti, fasting is till 12 o'clock in the afternoon. And the mood is like, I'm so desperate. Rama is coming and I'm not hungry and I'm waiting for him. That's the mood. Yes, Manasvi, you have a doubt? Please go ahead.
Yes, Mataji, please tell the story of celibacy and show your Mataji cat also.
You remember that? Okay. So the story is Krishna I don't know how much you'll understand, but I'm sure everybody will understand. So Krishna has gopis, and Durvasa Muni is going there for to meet. You know, Durvasa Muni can travel. And that time, Krishna tells the gopis to make exotic food, right? They make such nice food for everybody, and the food is prepared, and they make complete range of food. And after making full food, you know, Durvasa Muni is on the other side of Yamuna and taking bath. There also Yamuna is there. So Krishna is saying that, okay, go and give. They'll say, Are, I will, Yamuna is very high, what do I tell? So Krishna says, I will tell you a truth. You go tell them. As Yamuna loves truth. So if you speak truth, Yamuna will not do anything. Okay, Krishna, tell me the best truth. They'll say, okay, go tell Yamuna Ma that Krishna is excellent in celibacy. Okay, they will tell, oh my Krishna, how can I tell that? Krishna has 16,108 wives and so many gopis. How can you tell, you know, he is a living example of, or whatever, right? He is a number one in celibacy. Now they will tell to Yamuna, and Yamuna will give way. They will be very happy. They will go to Durvasa Muni, and they will think they'll first serve Durvasa Muni and then they will eat food. Now, so much they would have made, and Durvasa Muni would have eaten everything without even leaving one morsel of rice. And Durvasa Muni, then they will tell Durvasa Muni, now we came off, now we need to go back. So what is the condition? You will say that truth has to be spoken. He'll say, okay, no problem. Go to Yamuna Mataji and tell that I am in what is it? I'm fasting, right? What do you call that? Upasan. I'm not getting the word right. So I'm fasting. So I'm in Upavas, right? I'm eternal Upavas, right? So I won't take, because that's a name of Durva. Durva means grass. He literally eats grass, right? And Durvasa Muni, you all know, is an incarnation of Shiva. So he says, tell that. They are telling, okay, Yamuna loves Krishna, and therefore if we tell something about Krishna, Yamuna will spare us. Now about Durvasa Muni, what Yamuna is going to eat, they're all literally shivering, right? And they go and tell, you know, Durvasa Muni is an eternal Upavasi. And again, you know, Yamuna gave way. So they come and they tell Krishna, we are so confused, give us an explanation. So what Krishna is telling is, whatever you tell, right, celibacy, right, is more about your mind, right? He says that these are not things which I wanted. I'm doing for the pleasure of others. So anything you do, even a simple newspaper, is reading newspaper right or wrong? Right or wrong? Nothing wrong about it, right? But the fact is that if you get addicted that the newspaper is not available at the time, then it becomes addiction. So intoxication is not necessarily alcohol. Any habit also can become an intoxicant. But Krishna is not addicted, and therefore he is a perfect example of celibacy. Now Durvasa Muni ate so much because he wanted to satisfy the gopis, but he is not desperate for food. Nor he just did for the satisfaction. He was not, right? So therefore he is a Upavasi, right? So this is a classic example. So if you ask, and I've also personally seen, so if watching movie is wrong, but if you ask me, you know, if you put me before a theater or a movie, it will not have any impact on me, because I don't like movie. Half the time I see my mobile. So everybody, in fact, my daughter says, you're so boring, you know, you're seeing the phone, you're not watching them, because movie doesn't interest. Whereas if you're talking about swimming pool, you know, what is there? Swimming is a very nice thing. Ganga Sthan is good, but if I go inside the pool, I will not remember anyone. Time, place, situation, because I am so involved, so materialistic, so engrossed, that even a normal activity, which is not an anti-activity, can prove to be so addictive, right? So this is just an example which I thought I'll share with you all. And this is a story where celibacy, when they say, it's not that, oh my God, I'm married, so it doesn't apply. No, it's not about that. It's about how sincere you are by mind, action, and thoughts. So that is what is celibacy, and this is a story. Hare Krishna, everyone. So that's the end of the 7th chapter. And 18th chapter.
Mataji.
Yes.
Mataji, can you show your Mataji cat?
Show what?
Mataji cat.
Cat.
Yeah, Mataji cat. Oh, cat. Oh, yeah, both the cats are here. Sleeping. No, not sleeping. He's sitting there. Okay, I'll show you. I'll show you in the mirror. I don't know if you can see. Oh, it's far. Wait. Let me do. Where is it? No, he's sitting there. He's listening. That one is also listening. Oh, Hare Krishna. Come here. Which one? No, I can show Prabhuji cat. Mataji cat is over there. I'll bring in 1 second. Mataji cat, Prabhuji cat is coming. He's a little, he's a little, he's little camera cautious. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Yes, he will not miss my classes. Hare Krishna. Okay, he tells them. Okay. Prabhu, Mataji is there. I will get Mataji also. It's okay. They will, next time we will not. 1 second. Okay. This is only Mataji is coming now. Please. I was wondering. Mataji is having this tilak also in the head. That one also has, but in the light it will glare. So I forgot to show. Yes. Tell hello, Hare Krishna.
Hi, Mataji cat.
Okay. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Name of the cat?
First, we have a house name and we have a different name. So my daughter, I keep calling her Monkey Bihari. So we call the elder one as Bella Bihari and the small one as Oli Bihari or Hari Bihari. So Bihari, Monkey Bihari is name of Krishna only, which my daughter is there. So everybody is surnamed after that. But otherwise, short name is Bella and Oli, which we have changed around. Hare Krishna.
Are you happy, Manasvi, now?
Hare Krishna?
Yes,
happy?
Mataji.
I asked her whether she is happy now.
Oh, Manasvi, yes. Manasvi, Mataji, are you happy now? Okay, thank you. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So is there anything else? No other doubts? Any other doubts? Okay, a quick line on, before I forget, I don't remember which Mataji asked. Is she here?
The cat percentile now we have reached 99%.
What, Prabhu?
Cat percentile.
Cat percentile, you mean?
I am cat percentile. I am, this cat result. So this symbolizes cat, na?
Okay, okay.
So we scored 99%.
Score on that, okay. So,
yeah.
And one more thing which before I forget, the attendance is there, please mark. And there's one Mataji, is she there? She was talking about avatar and she was asking specifically about incarnation avatar. That's a detailed session. If she's there, she's not here, I think. So we'll do it in the next session. 18th day, 18th class, we won't be able to cover like this in 2 days. We need a longer session. It's a last day. So you all have to come back and tell me whether you all want a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or a Monday, Tuesday, Sunday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. What would you all prefer?
Ma'am, just take the poll right now because it will be too late by the time we reach Thursday, Friday.
Sure, take it right now. I'm okay with both. And I'll stop the recording. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, all of you.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Yeah, you can.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. I just missed reading the chant. You can launch the poll. Meanwhile, I'll keep reading my, appreciation. Thank you for the excellent session by Akshay Reddy Prabhu. Meenakshi Mataji has sent for attendance. Yes, and Dr. Lakshmi Mataji, Hare Krishna Mataji, wonderful session. Yes, thank you so much, Hare Krishna. Yes, please.
I don't have the poll, but we can just take a show of hands because we only 27.
Whoever wants Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Thank you so much, Kirti Mataji. Great session.
What are the other options, ma'am?
Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Saturday, Sunday, Monday? What would you all prefer?
Same time, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 8 p.m. Is that what you're trying to say?
I personally feel we'll keep it as 7:30 because if it stretches, if that's
most people go to work on Friday. So, I mean, people who go to work, please state your reasons for coming or not coming.
No, Friday we will keep it as 8, right? Maybe Saturday and Sunday we can keep it as 7:30 at least.
Attendance barra.
Sorry?
I think that's a good idea.
Please respond quickly because we have to tell Namanishtadas Prabhuji about this and take permission and then post it.
Yeah, so Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So Friday 8, Saturday, Sunday. That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah. So we'll stick to Friday at 8 o'clock and Saturday, Sunday we will do. Yeah, now itself we are informing Friday at 8. Sure. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. And please don't miss the beginning part because it's important, right? So last chapter, Hare Krishna. And Sunday, Nandita, you'll have, if they have to write, if they want to hold for 8 chapter, you'll have time for questions, all of it.
Yeah, sure, sure, sure. Ma'am.
Yeah, I think there are enough polls. All close it as Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but that's a point, right? Friday they will wind early, but Monday could be a beginning of the
yes.
Right. So we'll keep it as Friday, Saturday, Sunday. There is no class tomorrow, but we'll be sharing the link for Ram Navami. Please attend the online classes, and ISKCON is open. They are having questions in the evening. They are planning to celebrate in a grand way. And Nandita, I hope you did some work. You can talk.
Most websites have not updated anything after Gaur Purnima, ma'am.
Oh,
so,
okay.
But they say Sunday special programs are always there in ISKCON. So everybody can go and at least get prasadam.
Yeah, and Sunday evening ISKCON is celebrating Ramanavami in a very grand way. So I just thought I'll leave the note, and Hare Krishna to all of you. And let's end the session and we'll catch up. Hare Krishna, all of you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare